It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Well, good morning, and what a mild start to the day.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. We had a really nice weather yesterday. It's going to be even nicer today. Where yesterday was a record, today will be a record. Probably hitting 80 degrees or a little higher than that today. And then tomorrow's not going to be as cool as we initially thought. It'll be in the low to mid 60s, and then it cools off for the weekend.
Yeah.
Might not even hit 50 on Saturday. Anyway, enjoy this while you can. It's going to be certainly something amazing for all those trick or treaters tonight.
Trick or treat.
And, I only remind you that good comes with that. Little kids out there, innocent little minds, knocking on your door, saying trick or treat. You give them candy, everybody's happy. And then there's some punk out there that's ready to throw a silly string onto your warm car, and all of a sudden you can't get that off the finish, and it costs you thousands of dollars.
Wow.
That silly string, listen, I ain't Katie IL.
I was just gonna say
it'll cost you a new paint job.
Oh my gosh.
And that is not going to be hundreds.
Yeah, the eggs are bad too.
It'll at least be a couple $1,000. Mm-hmm. Eggs are bad too.
Yeah, who else?
So is acid. If you throw acid on a vehicle, it'll really, or if you catch it on fire, burn the tires. That's not good either. Smashing windows, not good. These are all things that can cost you on Halloween.
Right. So just be careful out there. Make sure the kids' candy is well inspected, and
that's important too, because there are some doozies out there, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't get it, but they're out there. Oh, boom, boom.
Being Halloween, there was nothing scarier than that fifth inning. It was.
I cannot believe what I witnessed last night.
Total collapse. And you know what? Everybody was critical of me all year, being critical of the Yankees and their defense and the lackadaisical play and the manner in which they play. I mean,
that was weird. That was weird last night.
It's like they didn't want the game. Judge dropping. I mean, the percentage of you making that error, anybody making that error. I mean, it was a routine fly ball.
Well,
he just dropped it.
Okay, I understand. One error. And Judge was on. All of a sudden,
oh my God!
Judge
that defensive stop where he basically robbed the Freddie Freeman of that shot to the top of the wall.
And he took a hard hit. Maybe that's what happened.
No,
maybe that smash into the wall messed with his head.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, but still, that's one player. He makes a mistake. Okay, it's a bad one. Lets a guy on. Now it opens the door.
Yep.
You see this all season long in Major League Baseball. You see it always. It's not just this season. The door opens, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Dave, you can get on mic, too. I know you're miserable.
And it's the same players.
But here's the problem. Then everybody fell to pieces.
Yep.
It's
Volpe's throw over to...
Judge can do it, then I guess so can I.
Yeah, Volpe's throw over to Chisholm on third was awful.
It was just like I said yesterday. Isn't it amazing how the turn in momentum can take a team that has pristine defense, and all of a sudden they're throwing the ball around the field like they're little leaguers. And that inning, that's exactly what happened with the Yankees. Then they start coming back. Then you think now they're only a run away. Listen, you go into the bottom of the ninth inning. Was it still a run? It was
6-5 Yankees. In the
what was the final score?
Seventh.
What was the final score? 7. Oh, I went to hit his mic. I screwed up here. I don't know what to do. Hold on. Stand by. Let me do this. I just hit the wrong button.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX.
All right. I got so excited. So excited. I don't know what just happened. Anyway, what were you saying?
You pulled a Volpe.
I'm going to turn. It's right. It's a forced error.
Anthony Rizzo.
Right, what I wanted to say, though, is it just went, it just went south. I don't know what I was saying. Go ahead.
So the final score was 7-6.
7-6, yeah. So, but you're going into the bottom of the ninth inning. You're trailing by 1 run. It is your entire season on the line. And it was 1, 2, 3.
Yep, 1, 2, 3, just like that.
That's what I was trying to say before.
Once again, the
hit the wrong button.
inconsistent Yankees bullpen cost them the game.
I just,
Well, I don't think it was the bullpen. It was that horrible defense that gave up 5 runs.
The way Cole was pitching, he could have gone to the 8th inning. If that 5th inning didn't happen, if Judge didn't drop a ball, if Volpe doesn't throw a stupid, way too hard throw over to Chisholm, and if Anthony Rizzo just runs to the freaking base, he's the biggest moron on the Yankees, Anthony Rizzo. He sucks.
That was a huge mistake.
Oh, mister, I've been in the World Series before when I was with the... Well, you suck.
He was acting like there was no way he could make it.
You just run.
Yeah.
If you couldn't have made it, Cole would have been there. There's some blame that has to be on Cole for not running over and covering. Come on.
It was Cole's bag, and that's basically what he was saying. It's almost like when the Titanic is sinking, you're like, I'm not getting in the life raft because this ship can't sink. I'm sorry. It's not the way it's supposed to happen.
Right. It was like Chuck Knobloch. Remember it was in the 98, was it the World Series in 98?
Yep.
When Chuck Knobloch, there was the ground ball, and he's sitting there arguing with the umpire that it was foul.
Yeah.
John in Bridgewater.
Oh, my God.
Y'all want some cheese with that wine? Buffalo is next, he says.
For a Super Bowl, I'm all in.
No. Buffalo is next to collapse.
No.
Is what he's saying.
No way, not in their division.
No. Bow.
And so Cole will probably use his opt-out.
Do you know the kind of money that was lost with that terrible loss last night? The money that do you know what they were getting?
I don't know who would bet on that.
First of all,
just
unreliable. I'm not talking about betting. Although I know somebody that did and lost again. I thought it was a clear-cut win for him. And then it wasn't. Listen, what I'm talking about is because this is a political season and everything is very fluid. So every day you're looking to see what openings, what spots are out there. And there's a thing called a preemptible rate and a non-preemptible rate. This is a little inside baseball, but for political spots especially. And you try to buy the preemptible rate and hope that the competition isn't that bad and you don't have to pay the high price.
Yeah.
Because they'll call you and say, all right, somebody's about to buy this at a non-preemptible rate. They're going to take the spot from you. Let's say you have a place in the World Series which you spent $800 for the spot.
Wow.
Okay? And that is the non-preemptible rate. Well, the preemptible rate is $1,500. So, or the non-preemptible rate is $1,500. So all of a sudden the TV station calls and says the Yankees are hot now. Looks like they're going to bring it back to L.A. And these next 2 games, here's your price, $5,000.
Wow.
So, and those spots were sold. Those were filled, and they gotta return the money, or we can give you Aaron Rodgers on Thursday night. That one's $750.
No thanks.
That's the kind of money that these TV stations are getting for these commercials because of the congressional demand. There are so many spots running congressionally. It's unbelievable. So what I'm saying is the money of the TV money that was lost in these 2 potential games was enormous. And it's gone. It's gone, just like that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So my thought on
this is $5,000 in Utica for a stinking 30-second commercial.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Soto will be gone, probably to the Mets.
Gleyber Torres is a free agent.
Yeah.
Anthony Rizzo is a free agent.
Well, that's fine. He can go.
I'm going to give you guys a chance to mourn.
Verdugo can go, and
Garrett
Cole will be
Cole
gone. So look at this is what let me finish up here.
Oh, sorry.
Let's look at how bad that team's going to look next year with Boone probably returning. Because
he is going to return. He has
there.
an option for 2025. They're not going to get rid of a manager that took them to the World Series in 15. Took us to the World Series in 15 years.
And to be honest with you, that I will. In the case of what inning was it? The fifth inning where they collapsed.
They were up 5-0. LA scored 5 in the fifth. In Game 5.
The number 5.
Awful.
What I would say to you on this is these guys are professional baseball players. That stuff is not Boone's fault. I mean, the fifth inning was not Boone's fault.
I think it is.
Yeah, but he's the leader of the team that shows them how to field in spring training.
You got to discipline these guys.
I was a huge fan of the song "Leader of the Pack." I understand.
When they come in from after that,
but you got professionals here. They got to be able to get the job done. I mean, you're being paid millions of dollars. They got to be able to get the job done.
It's like you can't make the argument about you can't say, oh, well, if the defense is struggling, the defensive coordinator isn't doing his job to make sure that there are no penalties or that they don't do stuff stupid or that their coverages are blown. It's coaching is what it comes down to.
Can I please just move on?
Yeah.
All right. I got to tell you something. I saw a story yesterday. I could not believe it. This guy, the black insurrectionist, I've been following this guy on Twitter.
That's what he calls himself.
Yes, he's an African American, and he is and he's a huge Trump fan, and he has hit a lot of these conspiracy theories, a lot of this stuff, like the 60 Minutes interview that was completely edited for Kamala Harris, or before the debate, he's pushing out the narrative that. And some of these things actually came from him.
He's the originator.
Okay. Some of them, and he got pushed hard. He was promoted hard by President Trump and by the GOP, and the one that said that they gave Kamala Harris the questions before the debate. That's another one that has been.
Oh, that wasn't true.
I guess for some people it is true. Because I spoke to somebody I said that was debunked. And they're like, oh, come on, give me a break. You know that's true. Okay. Anyway, turns out the black insurrectionist is a white guy from Webster, New York.
Are you serious?
Honest to God. And they did some investigative reporting, and he is a white guy who actually had a trial, I believe a federal trial, here in either Utica or Rome. It was in a Oneida County court. So, wow.
So he basically catfished everybody is what happened.
Everybody, yeah. Wow. And now he has been exposed. I thought that was kind of... And I don't know if there's anything illegal with that, but yeah, that is... But I'm following this guy. Like, this shows you black men are turning... they're turning to Trump. And I'm not saying that they aren't, but I'm saying not this one.
Not this guy.
This guy is a white guy.
He is not African-American.
Tanya J. Powers standing by from Fox News Radio. Tanya, good morning.
Good morning. You mean somebody on the internet did not prove to be who they said they were?
Can you believe that?
I know I'm shocked by this.
I know. It's a shocker.
You know how they found out was they said they needed a very emergent medical procedure, and they needed you to pay with Amazon gift cards.
That's right. That's right. We should have known. Yeah. And you better hurry because this offer's ending fast. I gotta have it now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Listen, with all of the politics going on, I thought we could get down the road this morning, Tanya, with something extremely serious.
Yeah.
And it's going to ruin it for me because I'm in New York a lot, and whenever we're crossing the street, and there's no traffic, and we're not at a crosswalk, I always yell out to my wife and daughter, come on, let's cross the street here and break the law.
Breaking the law.
Let's jaywalk. And this is an end of an era.
Yeah, they have taken your fun away from you.
This is terrible. This is awful.
Yes, jaywalking has now been legalized in New York City.
God,
jaywalking.
This is jaywalking reform. It's going to ruin everything in New York.
It is. Yeah. At first they came for the straws, now they've legalized jaywalking.
Yes.
Yes. it was passed by the city council last month. It officially became a law over the weekend because the mayor did not take any action either way. He didn't sign it. He didn't veto it. He just left it alone. It took 30 days for that to happen, but it is now apparently legal to jaywalk.
Wow.
I've been here 11 years and can confidently say that I have definitely broken that law for 11 years now. And I'm very, very happy that I will no longer be breaking it. It basically, what it does is permits pedestrians to cross a road, reverse street, whatever, at any point, including outside of a crosswalk. You can cross against traffic signals. It is not a violation anymore of the administrative code. But it does say that you don't have the right of way.
Right.
And you should yield to other traffic.
And you can get hit.
Which is, that's the next, that fight will be the next 100 years because that's,
Right.
People,
and that's
seem to think they do have the right of way.
That's the interesting part. When that light turns white and you walk in the crosswalk, you as a pedestrian have the right of way, but this you won't.
The other's the Wild West.
I do have to tell you that some of these avenues are really, really wide with many lanes, and I can only say you get caught in the middle and just be careful. That's all.
Yeah, that is one thing that I've noticed in traveling to other cities. Some other cities do this a lot better than we do here in New York. You get basically 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And Lord help you if you have like a mobility problem or you don't walk very fast or whatever, and you can't get across in 30 seconds. And like I said, some of them are pretty wide. I know Washington does this a little bit better than we do, and some of their crossing areas are 60 seconds. It just depends on where you're at and how many lanes you're dealing with.
You know what amazes me is these people who are blind, how they are able to maneuver through the streets. In whatever city, New York is a good example, but it's that there's a ticking sound or a noise,
like a tone,
that allows them to cross. And meanwhile, you have people that have all of their senses. They have everything. Watching them try to cross the street is like, oh, it's a debacle.
I feel bad for the NYPD jaywalking task force. What will they do?
Have you ever seen anyone ticketed for jaywalking?
No, I haven't. I'm sure it happened somewhere way in the past. But no, I've never actually seen anybody ticketed for jaywalking. That's not normally a thing people go after you for.
Well, great story. Now you know you can do it legally, and it's ruining my joke. I might just not tell my wife and daughter and just keep running with the joke. Hey,
you could. You could.
They're not going to know the difference. And I just wanted to leave you with one Halloween story, if I could, Tanya. It just dawned on me coming into work today. Did you, when you were in Mississippi growing up, did you go to Bible school in the summertime? Vacation Bible school. We did too.
Yes.
So I got to tell you, the time on Halloween, at the Halloween party at Bible school, my mother became so incensed when I told her the game that we were playing at Bible school. And it was a Halloween game. You know how you do dunking for apples? Today they say dunking for apples.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Snot and saliva and everything in there. You don't want to do that. I forgot what her name was, but she was the teacher, and she said, okay, we're all going to play a game, and the winner is going to get this Bible for free. You're going to win it. And she brought out a pie tin, and it was filled with flour, and she was creative. Filled with flour, baking flour.
Yes.
And in there and all mixed up, everything was white, were pennies. And we were dunking for pennies. I was like 8 years old, and I went home and I told my mother, and she's like, you are not going back to that Bible school.
I don't care if you get a free Bible or not, I'll buy you one.
It did seem a little odd because your mother always told you, don't put pennies in your mouth.
Yeah.
And imagine the kid who breathes in the flour and all of a sudden is like having some sort of a...
Or how about all the white substance on the kid's face when they come home from Bible camp? What did you do there?
Yes.
This is
we were just making stuff out of popsicle sticks. I mean, we didn't get this creative.
This is what happens in upstate New York. So you can remind those people that criticize us up here. You can be like, oh yeah, how about the time they were dunking for pennies in flour in upstate New York? That's a 100% true story. Happy Halloween!
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Happy Halloween!
All right, you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the abnormally warm weather in New York.
Thank you.
All right, Tanya.
Yeah, there we were, all sticking our heads in the flour. Every kid's coming out with it looked like Scarface, like we were creating a new
final scene,
from. What is this person thinking?
Yeah, like what?
I mean, I got to tell you something.
Nobody's ever done that before. I can guarantee you.
I think that's probably the only.
Pennies in the flour.
It's not like she was like, "Oh, I saw this on a TV show." No one ever did this.
Oh, you didn't.
And it's back in the 70s, so there's no TikTok, luring you in to do something stupid like eat Tide Pods. I do have to break. It is Thursday, October 31st, 2024. It's Halloween. And we are experiencing the warmest 2 days. We're probably going to end up with 2 80-degree days in October. That's pretty impressive. And it is a bit of a record. I also have an unbelievable Facebook battle going on. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you think the Katie Aiello drama is something.
Is this over on Oriskany Boulevard?
Yes.
Oh, I saw the sign.
Wait till you see. Have you seen? There
was a banner. There was like a vinyl banner, and now there's like a billboard.
Oh, huge banners and billboards. And if you think you've seen it all, you've not seen the Facebook page.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about this. I gotta do some diving, but we do have to break.
My God. We're going to talk about it when we come right back here. Hold on.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles?
Vous êtes d'où?
Vous êtes d'où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Okay then, low miles, real cream puff. Sign here, drive off.
I'd like to read the fine print.
Don't bother, miss.
Mrs., you'd be surprised what you find in the fine print. Like that Prop 1 that's on the ballot.
Equal rights? We love them here at Ace Auto.
Only Prop 1 isn't about equal rights. It's about special rights for illegal immigrants.
Say what?
It's in the fine print. You can read it on the ballot. Under Prop 1, national origin gets constitutional protection.
Huh. That means...
I do my own research.
I noticed.
Well, critics say Prop 1 could block local efforts to deal with the migrant crisis and give illegals a constitutional right to taxpayer benefits. Prop 1 could even open the door for non-citizens to vote here.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm voting no on Prop 1. It's a clunker. Paid for by Vote No on Prop 1 Committee. Vote no on prop1.org.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM is celebrating its 99th birthday with talk show host and comedian Jimmy Fallon.
Hey, it's your radio buddy Jimmy Fallon, and I am coming. This is not a drill, folks.
Jimmy Fallon, heard on WIBX and radio stations around the country weekdays and seen on his live TV show Saturday nights on Fox News Channel, is coming for one show only, Friday, December 6th at 8 p.m. at the Rome Capitol Theater.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Tickets start at $47 and are on sale now at RomeCapital.com. RomeCapital.com.
Bottom of the ninth on this show. I'm heading up to Utica. I'm doing the show live from WIBX tomorrow. Hanging out with my man Davey.
Jimmy Fallon, one night only at the Rome Capitol Theater from Keeler in the morning. And WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Celebrating 99 amazing years. Get your tickets at RomeCapital.com.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Show sponsored in part by First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Let's do this, baby.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Okay, coming up, I'm going to get to that that Facebook harassment. Also, I voted yesterday with my wife, and I got to say it was a bit of an off experience.
That's why you don't vote early, Bill.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Why you don't vote early.
You're right, because, and by the way, there was no lines, no waiting, in and out. It was wonderful. But I'll get to it coming up in a second. And is it pronounced Meyer? Do I have that right? Jeff Meyer is a meteorologist with the Weather Channel, and it is so exciting that we are now doing our weather. It is supplied by the Weather Channel. Pretty awesome.
We're finally professional here on the radio.
Well, we'll never be that, but it'd be nice to bring Jeff in. Jeff, with the Weather Channel, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming on. Did I? Now I got you. I'm sorry. I got you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
Good. This is really special. I mean, I don't want
happy Halloween.
Happy
truly.
Halloween, yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad that Mother Nature is going to allow for the deviants to come out and throw toilet paper and eggs on your car, because they're not going to be scared away by rain or snow or sleet. But man, 2 days of record-breaking temperatures. This is incredible.
Yeah, if you need a last-minute costume idea, maybe a lifeguard, a safari leader, something like that would,
That's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Basketball uniform coming in. Anything.
I'm so disappointed I closed my pool. I mean, this could have been a great week. But no. So what's going on here?
Yeah, big ridge of high pressures off the coast, and it is resulting in winds out of the south and the southwest, and as a result, you combine that with some sunshine. And as you mentioned, once again, record-breaking high temperatures. Our temperatures today on this Halloween running about 20 to 25 degrees above average. So even though we'll start off on the cool side this afternoon, 78 with sunshine, and for the trick-or-treaters headed out tonight, we'll probably be right around 70 to start off the evening at 6 p.m., and then into the mid to upper 60s between 7 and 9 tonight, and eventually we'll have some wet weather, but that's going to hold off until after midnight. An approaching front's going to bring us some showers overnight with a low of 53. Now, it is going to turn cooler tomorrow as that front pushes through. We'll see some scattered showers. There will be gusty winds. We'll start off with an initial high in the low 60s late in the morning, but we'll wind up in the low 50s later in the day as winds gust out of the west. Rain moves out tomorrow night. We dip into the mid-30s, and then a beautiful fall weekend with sunshine Saturday and Sunday and highs in the low to mid-50s. So enjoy the 70s today. It's going to get cooler as we head towards the weekend.
Even next week, it looks like 60s. It's not going to be that bad, and a lot of sunshine. Boy, we're really in a drought right now. There are some areas here in upstate New York that are warning people not to burn brush or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea because we will have these gusty winds that will accompany this front. We don't want to have to deal with any wildfires breaking out. But, yeah, very dry. We will have some showers overnight and into tomorrow afternoon, as we mentioned. But we're still looking at maybe a tenth of an inch to at most 2/10 of an inch as far as rainfall amounts. We'll dry out this weekend, a few more showers as we head into Monday. But as you mentioned, temperatures back into the 60s with dry weather for Tuesday and Wednesday.
And tomorrow doesn't look to be, initially it looked like we were going to be really cold tomorrow. But it doesn't look like it looks low 60s right now for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we'll start off with an initial high in the low 60s, but then
it'll go down. Okay.
Yeah, but that's all right. Still low 50s. That's where our average high is this time of year. So
I will take it. And then I just wanted to ask you. A lot of times you're hearing people say, "Wow, it's never been this warm in October." For us here in upstate New York, I guess we are hitting records, right?
Yeah, we are, for sure. I mean, I think the record today is in the low 70s when I was checking earlier, so around 70 degrees. So we're going to eclipse that one easily as we head into the afternoon. But, yeah, it's not very typical as you end the month of October that you're dealing with temperatures close to the 80-degree mark.
Well, and not only in the month of October, but at the end of October. I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. All right.
We'll pay for this. We'll pay for this.
Oh, you're probably right.
Come on, Jeff. Bite your tongue.
Jeff Meyer with the Weather Channel. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks. Hope everyone has a happy Halloween. Thank you.
You do the same. Thanks. There you go. It's going to be pretty warm.
Oh,
I love it.
Yeah.
I do love it, although I'm going to tell you, it's messing with my allergies. Sneezing all over the place. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I want to say we voted at Gander Mountain yesterday, and the only thing I can say, I get it. I understand Jim Zecca and his group. And, the Oneida County Party, Republican Party has a new Trump enthusiasm. I do understand that. I get it all. But it's like Woodstock over at Gander Mountain right now.
They're naked.
And they're
taking their clothes
screaming. They're as you're driving in, they're yelling. They're trying Trump. I mean, if you're a little old lady, and we talked with one, and actually she was bigger than me, but she's old. She talked about how she said I almost didn't vote because she said I really felt afraid driving by all those people, and because if you don't smile and wave, then you must be on the other side. Right? If you're not honking your horn, you must be the enemy. And I don't think they're there to hurt anybody, but that is, you're going to vote. And I get it. They're 100 feet away or whatever the rule is. I get it. But they're out on the corner and they're there every day for early voting. I do not think that is appropriate.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And I'm going to tell you, if it was another group out there, I wouldn't think it was appropriate. It's intimidating for somebody who's trying to vote, especially if you're going in alone and you got all these people yelling at you. It reminds me of the time coming in on the west side of New York, bringing my parents in. I said, you're going to love New York City. And all these group of yelling prostitutes just come right up to my father's car, reach in, try to reach way down into the car. I mean, it was terrible.
Were they like protesting for legalization or?
No, they wanted money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was terrible. Not that I'm comparing the prostitutes in New York City to the Trump supporters in New Hartford, but I'm sorry. I know it's your constitutional right. I get it. But I will tell you I don't like it, which is why if you vote on Election Day, there are too many polling places. They can't form such a large group in one place.
Well, that'll learn you.
You're a bit better off.
Although,
no lines yesterday. No lines, no waiting.
That's why you should just vote on Election Day.
Got my little I voted sticker, and they're doing big numbers right now. It's really quite shocking. On Oriskany Boulevard, what are you seeing over there?
So I saw a sign. The one sign I saw. So there used to be, there was a little bit of a defecation emoji that was up for a while.
Yeah,
that said something about S-hole property. And it was just a banner, like one that you would see kind of at maybe a sporting event or something like that.
The guy who's putting up the signs is the owner of maybe the old DDS Motorsports.
I'm not sure. Because
he references on YouTube, or on Facebook, he references selling motorcycles or motorsports. That's got to be it. That's right over where that location is.
So what's the Facebook group that you're seeing all this?
It's not a Facebook group.
You're just seeing it on Facebook?
It's his Facebook. It's the owner's Facebook page.
So, all right. So I'm going to tell you right now if it's the former.
I'm pretty sure it might be. So it's a guy by the name of Chris Stever.
Okay, I don't think that's not the former owner of DDS.
I didn't say he's the former owner.
Oh, so maybe he owns it now?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Chris Stever, and it doesn't really say here what he's it's motoworldatv.com. Moto, M-O-T-O, world, ATV.com.
Okay. So there's a couple of so he takes shots at a couple different people.
Yes,
so,
Herb Cully, he's going after.
And then one of them is Dr. Emil Wassel.
Yes, Dr. Wassel. Apparently, there's a property that's owned that's next to another property that he owns that he feels should be fixed, and he says that it's breaking codes and that the town of New Hartford is allowing this to happen. I would play some of his videos, but I was too busy watching the game last night, and this came in too late. I'd have to edit out all the F words, and there's a little swearing in there.
So there's one post he had here. Love thy neighbor is what the Bible said. Unfortunately, mine is a dirty slob, has trash blowing down Oriskany Boulevard. And then he's got speakers playing with a big banner.
He's got the Barney theme playing. I mean, huge speakers. You feel like you are at Woodstock. I mean, this is louder than Lee Greenwood playing at Gander Mountain yesterday. These are a loud sound system he's got going, and it's unbelievable.
So just based on this quick looking at it, I think the the criticism of Herb Cully is it's saying Herb pick a career, resign as New Hartford attorney today.
So here's the problem.
Maybe he's not
saying,
doing what he needs to do to help with
yes,
the
but
property.
What his complaint is that Herb Cully is representing this doctor, according to
Chris Stever.
Herb Cully is representing the doctor, but he's also a town attorney. So he's saying there's a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Is what he's saying. Because they're not enforcing codes on these properties. Now, a lot of times what happens is they might be enforcing codes. And it's just taking time today to get a contractor. It takes time to be able to repair and fix things up. But it's certainly not happening at the pace that he wants. So he's taking them to court over it. But in the meantime, he's exercising his free speech. He's over there with the Trump. He's over there with the Trump supporters.
Oh, is he?
At Gander Mountain, and he parked the vehicle over there.
That's funny.
And it's blaring the sign and the music into the town office building. It's quite something. And if you search Chris Stever, Stever, maybe you can reach out and we can get all parties and see if we can resolve this issue.
One video here where I guess Herb Cully, it appears to be taking pictures. That time I posed for Herb. I'm so ashamed of myself and am currently in therapy. No Diddy, though. I don't know about this good old boy network. They might be involved.
I think Herb was coming out, and one thing you don't want to do is come out. Don't come out and take a picture, because they're taking a picture of you taking a picture.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up on the Facebook page, and it has.
Well, here's the thing is so I guess the beef is that this property that is allegedly owned by Dr. Wassel is just falling in disrepair.
Yeah, by the pictures he's showing, if that's the case, it's pretty rough. Now, the DDS thing, I just want to apologize. They may not be correct.
So, Moto World is a building that was constructed next to the former DDS.
Okay.
The former DDS is now self-storage.
I see. Okay, well, there you go. There you go. And this guy, Chris Stever, has some cash, because at some point he's like posting his profits on Facebook. I'm not talking about a Jesus profit. I'm talking about
like
profits and
financial
loss.
Statements.
Financial statements. And he's talking about, I just went up to Don's Ford. I love Don's Ford. I just dropped $100,000 on a vehicle, and I might buy another one. So, I mean, he's flowing in dough right now. This is quite an interesting story. As Mark sent this to me yesterday, he said, this is going to make your KDILO story just pale in comparison. Trust me, is what he says. Richard this morning, ask Andrew who the Yankees defensive coordinator is. I can't stop laughing at what he said, defensive coordinator. I'll be waiting forever for that answer. Did you say defensive coordinator?
I'm talking about if a defense on a football team sucks, you should blame the defensive coordinator. Open your ears.
Richard says Wednesday was not recorded breaking temperatures. Today will be. Do some DD. Technically, the record in Syracuse was shattered yesterday, Richard. That is official out at Hancock Airport, I believe. And then I wanted to, so I got into that. I have so much stuff to get to.
Yeah, well,
today.
you got a break too. So.
And I'm going to the top. I can't?
No.
Though we got a big meeting yesterday, so. Yeah. All right, you're going to follow the rules now. Let me break. And I do want to get into the story about, there's a puppies story that's pretty bad. We'll get into that. Also next hour, Ray Meyer is ruffling some feathers, but he says he has to be able to look at himself in the mirror. He will be on. He's written an op-ed as to why he's not voting for Trump. We'll speak with Ray Meyer coming up here.
Assemblyman Brian Miller thanks those people of the 122nd Assembly District who took the time to share their concerns during the campaign. With voting underway and the polls open on Election Day from 6 a.m. till 9, Brian has heard a lot of stories that people will be taking with them into the voting booth. Inflation and public safety are among the most talked about, but there's so much more, like education and healthcare, veterans and farmers. Brian Miller continues to work to help create opportunity for young people. That includes taking advantage of the new high-tech industry spreading across the Mohawk Valley. And Brian knows the importance of protecting our upstate values, which includes preserving our Second Amendment rights. And Brian takes his service to the community seriously. If you have a problem with state government or services, call Brian at his office in Albany or here locally. He's always ready to help. And when you vote this week, please vote for Brian Miller. He's working for all of us. Paid for by Brian Miller for...
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome. W295EI. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. The Town Square Media Station.
Cheering a championship. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News in Los Angeles, celebrating the World Series.
I'm very happy that Dodgers won.
Let's go, Dodgers! We thought we were down. We come back.
The Dodgers rallied back from down 5-0 in Game 5 to beat the Yankees 7-6 in New York. Freddie Freeman named the World Series MVP on Fox, tying a record with 12 runs batted in.
Heck of a job by everyone in this series. I'm glad I was able to get hot at the right time.
There will be a parade in L.A. tomorrow, unlike when the Dodgers won in the 2020 COVID-shortened season. But last night, during the celebration, some fans got destructive, setting a bus on fire and breaking into stores and looting. Now to the election, just 5 days away.
250 million Americans are not garbage.
Former President Trump wore a reflective vest at his rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, after pulling up in a garbage truck, escalating the controversy over what President Biden said as he campaigns against the vice president. Also rallied in North Carolina.
Kamala Harris cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Now, Vice President Harris also had her rally in Wisconsin last night and also went to North Carolina and Pennsylvania.
We have an opportunity in this election to turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other.
Harris distanced herself from President Biden, calling Trump supporters garbage, saying she'd be president for all Americans. But the White House insists the president was only talking about one Trump supporter, the comedian who caused controversy at Sunday's New York City rally, calling Puerto Rico garbage. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says
he does not view Trump supporters or anybody who supports Trump as garbage.
America's listening to Fox News.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
5 days before the election, more than 58 million Americans have already voted, as the focus remains on 6 states considered toss-ups. There are new Fox News polls in 3 of them showing a Trump-Harris tie in Pennsylvania among likely voters, including third-party candidates. The vice president has a 2-point edge in Michigan, the former president up by 2 in North Carolina. And inside the numbers in that state,
of those polled, 53% trust the GOP presidential nominee to better handle the economy, a 6-point lead, and 54% trust him on handling the conflict in the Middle East, a 10-point lead, while 51% trust Vice President Harris on election integrity, a 4-point lead, and 55% on the issue of abortion, a 12-point lead. When asked about their family's financial situation, 12% say they feel they are getting ahead. 44% say they're falling behind. Unchanged responses since February. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Things keep getting intense ahead of the election. Investigators keep searching for whoever bombed ballot boxes in Washington state and Oregon, burning hundreds of ballots using incendiary devices that had the words "Free Gaza" on them. There's also been an arrest in Pennsylvania.
A Philadelphia man facing charges after allegedly calling the Montgomery County Republican Committee office last weekend and threatening to shoot it up or bomb it. 39-year-old Edward Sierri Jr. charged with threatening to place weapons of mass destruction, terroristic threats, and harassment. This was the latest in a series of incidents threatening violence against GOP offices. Death threats were made against a GOP worker in Erie County in September, And people forcibly entered the Delaware County Republican Party headquarters, threatening violence earlier this month. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
We'll get an inflation update next hour. Ahead of that report on Wall Street stocks, futures falling about 200 points for the Dow, adding to yesterday's losses that dragged the Nasdaq down from its record high. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time 7:05. I'm Andrew Derminio. This update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica on Commercial Drive in Yorkville. We're at 55 degrees under cloudy skies. Things will warm up. Your full forecast in minutes. 5 people were hit and injured by a car on Blandina Street in Utica Wednesday afternoon. It first started with a call to 911 regarding a fight on the 400 block of Blandina Street near 2nd Street. Around 45 minutes later, more calls for help after reports that 5 people were struck by a car. Utica police say it happened just after 3 p.m. near 2nd Street. All 5 victims were transported to Wynn Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. They say the driver fled the scene, but was later pulled over on Mohawk Street. Utica police say they are questioning a suspect in connection to the incident. Two Herkimer County residents are facing charges for allegedly selling drugs out of a hotel in Herkimer. Police say 40-year-old Tyrell West of Richfield Springs is charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance and criminal use of drug paraphernalia. 27-year-old Erica LeClaire-Avillian was also charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance. Herkimer police say they searched their vehicle and found prepackaged crack cocaine, scales, and a ledger of drug sales. Herkimer police believe the drugs were being sold out of the Red Roof Inn on Mohawk Street in Herkimer. Utica police have made an arrest in connection to a stabbing that happened at the Utica Rescue Mission on Rutger Street. They say it happened just before midnight on Tuesday. Upon arrival, officers were met by the victim, who stated he and a male he knew were engaged in an argument. During the course of that argument, the suspect grabbed a knife and stabbed the victim completely through the wrist, causing injuries on both sides of his arm. Other individuals who were present were then able to secure the knife away from the suspect and keep him close. The victim was transported to Wynn Hospital for treatment, and the suspect was placed into custody and transported to UPD. At the conclusion of the investigation, 56-year-old Joseph Fields of Utica was charged with assault in the 2nd degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the 3rd degree. The 2 top leaders in the House of Representatives are coming to Central New York ahead of Election Day. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson will hold a campaign rally for incumbent 22nd District Congressman Brandon Williams in Syracuse tomorrow.
Well, this shows the importance of this race.
Yes, on Saturday, Democrat and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries will be here to host an event in support of Williams' opponent, State Senator John Manion. The 22nd District could end up deciding what party takes control of the House in 2025.
Yeah.
And more than 60% of Americans say they believe in ghosts. However, less than half believe in witches. That's according to a Real Clear opinion research poll conducted late last year. Either way, if they show up to your door on Halloween night, give them some candy. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time 7:08. Your weather forecast is brought to you by Jimmy Fela, who will be at the Rome Capitol Theater on December 6th. It's the 99th anniversary WIBX celebration.
Here's the latest forecast from the WIBX Weather Center. It's going to be a dry start to this Halloween. Clear early, then mostly sunny and warm this afternoon. A high soaring into the upper 70s. Ahead of a front tonight, increasing clouds, but for trick-or-treaters, all that rainfall holds off until the overnight hours with a low down to 53. Windy and cooler with scattered showers tomorrow after a morning high in the low 60s. Temperatures will fall into the low 50s with gusty winds out of the west, and sunshine for the weekend as highs hit the low to mid-50s. I'm Jeff Marr at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
56 degrees under cloudy skies at 7:09. Sports brought to you by IBEW NECA 43 local contractors. For the second time in 5 years, the LA Dodgers are World Series champions. The Dodgers clinched their 8th championship in franchise history after rallying for a 7-6 win over the Yankees in Game 5. Teoscar Hernandez hit a 2-run double to tie the game in a 5-run 5th inning for the Dodgers. A pair of sac flies off the bats of Gavin Lux and Mookie Betts put the Dodgers up in the top of the 8th.
You know, if I could, that fifth inning, the Dodgers were. I mean, I had never seen.
They were dead in the water.
I had never seen such a momentum change as the change in momentum with the Yankees.
It destroyed the momentum from the night before.
Well, yes.
Like grinded everything to a halt.
They had the night before, and then they had the start of this game.
A 3-run first.
And it was... I've never seen such a momentum change there in the Yankees' favor. And then that fifth inning came, and they let Los Angeles right back in. And it wasn't the same after that.
Here's a quote from our man, Sal Barbero, the umpire guy. Never in my lifetime watching pro baseball have I seen defense like the Yankees last night. Little leaguers could have made those plays. Comical.
It was Little League. It was Little League play. It was really,
anyway,
really bad.
The Dodgers win, Yankees lose, and I hope they enjoyed it because I don't see them going back to the Fall Classic anytime soon. I can tell you that.
We'll see you next year's Subway Series.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. The Buffalo Bills have a big game this weekend, and law enforcement are urging fans to be aware of ticket scams. The Bills are hosting the Miami Dolphins Sunday at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. Officials say people should try and purchase their seats through Ticketmaster before looking on secondary market sites. I have to say, I know the law enforcement's warning, but like these are vetted sites like Vivid Seats, StubHub, SeatGeek. These are vetted.
You just got to be careful.
Sites.
You got to be careful. Be careful. Listen, and sometimes you can find there are fake sites out there.
Yeah.
Make sure you got the real site. Davey, I want to say, number one, I love the fact that the Bills are playing at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Over the years, these years of the Bills being not as competitive, we get 1 o'clock every Sunday, and it has not been the case this year because they're doing all of these primetime games and everything else. The other thing is, I want your opinion, both of you, and this was brought up by Mike earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Don't you think if you're on defense...
Now, I know there's a difference between... Now, so you're talking about defense in football, which is what I was referring to earlier.
Let it go. If you're on defense... and you got a chance to sack Tua. Aren't you going to be really kind of gingerly approaching that sack?
Yes.
Or are you going to wipe him out? Because you could be the one to not only wipe him out for good in the NFL, but you could be the one to kill him.
It's an interesting
And I don't think
thing.
that is an understatement. Will that be on the minds of not only the Buffalo defense, but other defenders going forward with Tua?
I think with regard to that, you just have to make sure you're, and again, heat of the moment,
no
games
head-to-head,
are tough,
no,
it's rivalry, you got to just be sure to do clean hits.
Just because wasn't it, what's his name for the Bills, ironically, who took him
Hamlin,
out,
yeah.
Hamlin, who took him out.
Well, and so, the other thing, too, is the latest concussion was from a situation where Tua decided to run the ball, and he kind of went head first into Damar Hamlin when he was running. So, but, you never know. And that's the tough part is if he wants to an extent, if he's the one that wants to go out and play still,
you got to hit him
under center, you got to hit him.
You got to hit him the way you would normally hit him. All right, what else? Anything else? David, you don't have an answer to that? You don't have an opinion?
I think that they're going to target.
It's going to be in the bet. You think they're going to target him?
Yeah, they're going to Bobby Babbage.
Take him out.
Bobby Babbage, the defensive coordinator, is going to draw up a scheme for maybe.
Do you think the Bills are going to try to take him out of the game?
No, they're going to go for. They're not going to make. They're not going to.
You got to go for your. You got to go for a sack.
Yeah, they're going to target Tua to tell him for a sack.
Okay, all right.
And it's the return of Von Miller too. So
Von Miller's back, which. He will be probably inconsequential for this game.
Right.
I just have a feeling.
So
Okay.
the next two games are at 1 o'clock for the Bills, and then the big showdown in 2 weeks, 4:25, Kansas City.
All right. Anything else, Andrew?
Just that we'll have Thursday night football for you right here on WIBX.
We got to do the picks.
It's the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets.
All right.
The New Jersey Jets.
Have you taken any picks from the contestants? This is a pick'em contest, and if you're a contestant, give Davey a call. We'll try to take you on the air coming up. All right. Politics. It's Election Day coming up. We're actually early voting, and I voted yesterday. Have you voted yet? A lot of Republicans have voted. Davey, you voted. Do you want to tell everybody who you voted for?
I voted last Sunday at the South Rome Senior Center, and I made my choice, but I'm not going to say who it was.
You're not going to say who it was? Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You want me to tell you who it was?
Oh, now you're changing your mind.
Sure. I voted for Trump.
You did? Okay.
Yes, I did.
I think you told me you were going to do that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you said, I don't like him, but I'm voting for him.
I don't like some of the stuff, but I did vote for him, but I don't like her.
You know what I like about when Trump was in office, wages in radio were so high. And now under Biden, it's just terrible. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think our wages have moved at all, have they? Have they moved at all? Oh, no, you're right. They haven't. Sorry. No change in radio. No change in radio. Apparently, Trump, Harris, Biden, none of them. They don't care about radio. Coming up later in the hour, we'll speak with Ray Meyer, who wrote an op-ed giving his reasoning for his vote. And he's going to tell you who he's voting for. Obviously, a longtime Republican, ran as an attorney, ran for Congress against Mike Arcuri back then during a very heated race. And, of course, a longtime New York State Senator, Ray Meyer, coming up in a little bit. Also, James Myers is taking on the current New York State Senator, Joe Griffo. Myers in studio to make his final argument coming right up. Wayne wants to make his final argument on the picks, the NFL Pick'em contest, which is worth $200. Now, let me just tell you, our gas contest from Clifford, your chance to win tomorrow, $500 in gasoline. We're going to do that coming up in a few minutes. And how much on Hobica's free money question of the day today?
$300
on the line for Hobica. Coming up. And good morning, Wayne. Good morning.
Hey, guys. What's up?
All right, your picks, and then I got a break.
So tonight, Jets-Texans.
Texans.
Are you a Yankees fan, Wayne?
Yeah, yes, I am. But I also know that the Dodgers were just they were too powerful. They were too consistent. They were just a better team.
When they played them back in June,
yeah,
they came to Yankee Stadium. They played them in June, and they took, I think, 2 or 3 from us. I said this could be the World Series, and we'll lose.
I think they played 6. Did they play 4 times? Did they play 4 times or more this year?
No, only once.
Only once.
Only one series.
I'm content that the Yankees won the American League, and I'm not. That's not sour grapes. I'm just content that, you know what, that's a lot just to win the American League in general. When you go on, you win the rest of it. It's sweeter.
All right, Wayne, your picks here. Go ahead.
Lions-Packers. I'm dreading this pick myself, but all right. Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate that. And Buccaneers. I don't take it personal. Yeah. I think Love's playing. I think he is going to play.
All right, next up.
But is he playing hurt?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, that's the only reason why I'm tipping the other way. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, and then Bucs-Chiefs on Monday Night Football.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, their run is going to come to an end. Let's hope it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not right now. right? Let's hope. All right, Wayne, thank you, man. Thank you. You have a great day. A lot of comments to get to as well. Coming up, we will speak with James Myers. He's running against Senator Joe Griffo. We'll do that in a bit at WIBX.
The instability of our economy after this election has many worried, and stocks and bonds could be the first to collapse. Countless Americans are turning to the safest store of wealth in human history to protect their retirement accounts. Physical precious metals. Gold has been a safe haven asset for generations. At Premier Gold, we specialize in helping those with a 401k, IRA, or other types of retirement accounts convert their vulnerable paper assets into physical gold to protect their hard-earned savings. Today, we'd like to send you a free gold election kit to help you decide if this is right for you. Call 606-800-8000 to claim yours. Act before the election to take advantage of the current rollover policies, allowing for a quick and seamless transfer into physical gold or silver. Don't let the outcome of this election influence the fate of your financial future. Call 606-800-8000 now. Premier Gold is not a financial advisor. Please consult with your advisor before investing. Call 606-800-8000.
Jobs down. Crime up. 200,000 migrants reach New York. The headlines haven't changed. For 15 years, Kirsten Gillibrand's talked the talk, but she hasn't walked the walk. Gillibrand's failed to fix the economy, and she helped pass cashless bail and open the southern border.
I'm Mike Sapricone. I spent 20 years as a New York City cop, working the toughest beat in the country. Then I started a global security business right here in New York. I've traveled to every county and every corner of the Empire State, and I've heard the same thing. People tell me they haven't seen Kirsten Gillibrand for years, and I say you couldn't even pick her out of a lineup. I spent my life getting things done. It's time to finally get serious about fighting crime, creating jobs, and ending the migrant crisis. Let's get going. I'm Mike Sapricone, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sapricone for Senate.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8, 2025, if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at www.robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodity interests can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Display prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. This station does not recommend any specific investment.
Now, the big wireless companies want to limit you to two choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. Now stop overpaying for data that you're never, ever going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when all you need is a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. Now, with Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data that you actually want and need. And for example, for $25 a month, you'll get unlimited talk and text, 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, and they'll include mobile hotspot and roaming in 50-plus countries. Stop overpaying for wireless. Get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, and do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. The switch is simple, fast, and easy. No contract to sign, no activation fee, and you keep your phone and your phone number. Pound 250, keyword SAVE NOW, the same service for much less, for about half, from Pure Talk.
Hey, I want to tell you about Randall's Pharmacy in New Hartford. If you're looking to have your vaccines done, I ran into somebody else who just got shingles. I got to get that shingles vaccine.
Those are brutal from what I've heard.
And she's going through a really rough time with it. I got to get it done. You got to get it done. I'm going to go to Randall's and get my shingles vaccine. There's COVID and flu as well. And doctors like Dr. Hall are recommending you get it done. Randall's is offering a workplace vaccination. They'll come to your workplace. Could be 10 employees, could be 100 employees, whatever. No matter the size. They will come in and vaccinate anyone who wants to be vaccinated, which will help you so that you don't have one of those super spreaders and deal with that issue. You certainly don't want to have to deal with that, right? And Randall's will come in and assist. Vaccinations. Call them today at 315-732-1615. Insurance usually covers the vaccination. 315-732-1615 is the phone number. And if you need one of those like you're me and you want to go in and get the shingles vaccine or whatever, no appointment is necessary. Just walk in to Randall's next to Cavallo's on Genesee Street in New Hartford. Vaccination Center. Randall's Pharmacy in New Hartford.
This is actual footage of Bill Keeler doing a radio show on WIBX. Sadly, his career was found in a heavily wooded area. If you know the person or persons who ended the radio career of Bill Keeler, please tell them thanks on behalf of the people of Central New York.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
Well, I will say one thing with this World Series out of the way. I can go to bed at a decent hour.
Oh,
last night I'm like, after the Yankees fell behind, I'm saying I don't think they're going to be able to come back. And then, of course, the Dodgers scored and they went ahead. So I went to bed, and what do I do in bed?
You're following the game.
I put YouTube TV on my phone, and
you have to.
Right up until the point my wife said, "Will you turn that down?" And then I turned it down and just watched it.
You could just put the AirPods in, too.
And I could not believe what happened at the bottom of the ninth inning. Boom, boom, boom.
There's total
It's
collapse,
over.
total
All right,
giving up.
Quick comments. Here we go.
A couple comments. Ralph from PA. You're such a man-child, Andrew. Calling a listener an idiot, really? To get that upset over a sports team loss is ridiculous. For the record, I wasn't upset. I am upset about the loss, but I'm over it because I was over it last night. I'm more upset about the fact that Richard doesn't listen. He thinks he's listening. He doesn't listen to everything that is said.
He's saying he predicted a Yankees loss.
Yes, and he predicts Trump will lose in November, and we shall see.
Well, tomorrow's November, so it's coming.
Bill in Deerfield. Bill, it's funny you say that. My son and I are going to the game this weekend, and we both are worried to see that happen.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. Maybe something with Buffalo or...
Oh, the Tua.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I got to tell you something.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe him getting injured.
He could take one more hit and die on the field. He should not. I can't believe that the NFL is allowing him to play.
Well, it's his right.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
It's not. No, you're right.
Trust me, it's not my right to work here. I know that. I've been fired many times.
It's a privilege, Bill. That's what they tell us.
When they want to get rid of you for whatever reason, they need him at his best. And you know what? In terms of TV numbers, people can be tuning in because we love a train wreck. We like to see bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you, it's a horrible part of the human mind, but it exists and it makes money. And that's why he's there. He chooses to do it. That's what the NFL is saying, but they could stop him. I can't believe it. So could Miami. Anything else? Any other comments?
Bill Morehouse, been fighting shingles since October 4th. Get the vaccine. This stuff is no joke. And if you do get shingles, get the antiviral very quickly, because if you get it late like I did, you're in for hell.
My dad had it. My mother had it. My mother-in-law had it. My wife had it.
Oh,
the hell am I doing not getting
now,
this
if
vaccine?
I've had chicken pox, I'm more susceptible?
Correct.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
I've had it. Yeah.
And some people don't realize this, but you can catch shingles. So if you're around someone with shingles, you can catch it. So be aware. James Meyer is it Meyer? I'm sorry, it's Myers. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
looking at your shirt, and I can see that.
There's so many ways to spell it. I was just talking with Ray Meyer in the green room out there.
He has two E's and an I.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And
You
mine
have
is
two E's and a Y.
and an S at the end.
And an S.
Yes.
Some people are Meyer. Some people are Myers.
And I actually, very quickly, my grandfather, when he came back from World War II, added the S. He thought it sounded better. So when we did the history, everyone was Meyer without the S.
It's funny the power that the head of the family used to have in those days. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm changing the spelling of the name.
That's right.
Well, and they would change people's names when they came over to Ellis Island, too.
That definitely happened a lot. Yeah. We just didn't understand, and they just were like, nope, this is you. I'm writing it down, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James Meyer. Myers. Good morning. Sorry.
Good morning.
I'll have the other Meyer in studio in a few minutes. Yeah. Let's talk about here we are at the closing argument, if you will.
Yes.
You're asking for people to, and it's a tough ask. You're going after a longtime incumbent.
Yes.
In Joe Griffo, but you're asking for people to vote for you. And why is that? Why should people cast that vote?
I am. And guys, thanks for having me again. As always, I love being here, talking to your listeners. So, why? I know I'm a new guy, right? I'm a younger guy, right? I've never been in politics my entire life. I always like to say I'm relatively young for politics. I'm 36 years old, not too young. Half my life has all been service in some way. When I was 19 years old, I joined ROTC to pay for college. When I graduated college, I did 4 years on active duty as an intelligence officer. Since then, I've served in the Army Reserve. I'm still in, and the reason I'm here is because I worked up in Rome for the last 9 years as a program manager, balancing budgets. Government money, taxpayer dollars for a private company, where my job was to make sure that the the government was getting what they paid for under budget and on time. And so I completely understand. I'm very familiar with large budgets, up to $10 million for a private company that I balance myself as a program manager. And I spent the last, feels like, some days feel like 2 days, some feels like 10 months. I've spent the last 10 months getting all across the district. The district's big. It's 2.5, really 3 counties, 4, Herkimer as well with 3.
Yeah, there's a little sliver of Herkimer.
And I've talked to everyone I can. I've never knew there were so many parades until I ran for office.
A lot of parades.
There's a parade every week.
Some, I wonder why we call them parades. I would call them walk down the street. There's another walk down the street coming, and we'll throw in a fire truck.
There you go.
That's kind of some of these parades are really small.
And they were all so well attended, though. Even in Rome, when it was downpouring for the Rome parade, they rescheduled.
That was really big because of why it was canceled and postponed in the first place. Yeah.
Right. And I talked to everyone I could. Didn't matter to me what political persuasion. If they had a red hat on, even though that's not my party, I went and talked to them and asked them what matters to them. You know what I heard a lot, was people are tired of the status quo. Whatever that means. Status quo at the top of the ticket, status quo in the middle, status quo at the bottom of the ticket. And I don't blame them, right? When things aren't going their way, or they feel like things are expensive, or they feel like healthcare's, expensive and they can't find them. I've heard mental health care is hard to get, housing is expensive, all these things. The status quo is what they've, kind of blamed that on. And to me, I'm the exact opposite of the status quo, and I try to, let people know that. I come into this with different experience, with private sector experience, with military experience, not someone that's been in politics my whole life. And to me, if you're sick of the status quo and you're looking for something new, you wouldn't elect someone that's been in politics their entire life because they've been here, during these times that people are saying are tough. So to me, you'd want somebody new that can look at it with a fresh perspective.
How do you, I've asked you this before. I think I asked you this each time that you're on. I'm going to ask you now, this is your final argument, if you will. Yeah. And that is, where do you differ when it comes to Joe Griffo's policy?
Yeah, I'll give an example, actually. Thought about it a lot, the last many, many months. We looked at the New York State budget, for example, that came out, obviously many months ago. It's a hard-fought budget between both sides. It's so large, I understand that. But I think, I didn't really, I had to understand this a little bit better as I started doing this. The budget is divided up into multiple different bills, right? 10 different bills in this year. And every bill has something different in it. Some things are good, some things are not good. And in my mind, you look at each one, and I've had to do this in my job as kind of a watchdog of taxpayer dollars. You look at each budget bill and see what's in it, and if things are good, you vote. You vote yes on the one you support, and you might vote no on the ones you don't support. And what I find very commonly, it seems, which is unfortunate, because to me, political parties don't really matter too much to me, right? You do what's right for upstate New York. You agree with who you agree with, you don't with who you don't, you fight back with it. But what I'm going to say about that, though, is that I found that, a lot of times, if you're in a party, you'll vote yes on all the budget bills just because it was your party that passed it, or you'll vote no on all of the budget bills just because it was not your party in the majority. And our current state senator voted no on every single one of those. And some of those bills, we had the largest increase in AIM funding, aid to municipalities, that we've had in 10 years. And that's for, our infrastructure here. There was funding for mental health. There was funding for public safety, which I know, Democrats get a bad rap on public safety, and I get that too, because I've sat down with the sheriff and we've talked about bail reform, and that needs to be fixed. But, there was things in there for retail theft, and Joe voted no on all of them, all 10.
How do you handle the dilemma, which is typical in the budget, because we love putting policy into budget bills. Yeah. I say we, it's what is done in Albany. How do you handle something that Marianne Buttonshaw complains about? Mm-hmm. She's a member of your party.
Yeah.
And she complains that when given the option, so maybe you have one bill that has bail reform in it, but it also has critical funding for a school district in your region. Yeah. How do you handle that? How do you vote on that?
Right. So, I'm glad
how would you vote on that?
Yeah, and I'm glad to have a good relationship with Marianne already, and I think that having another person in the majority where I can work with her very closely, now that's another person that can fight against work with these downstate Democrats who a lot of times aren't taking upstate New York into account.
Right.
And now you have two people in the majority who can have a little bit of outside influence that somebody in the minority just can't have.
Yeah.
And we can actually fight to either change that, tell them how bad of an idea some of these things are to be putting in with things that are so important, because we have to fix bail reform. I sat down with the sheriff and talked about this. It's not working right now. And if that's in there with, it should not be in there with something as critical as school funding, because for me, school funding is something I've talked about a ton. We have to make sure we're fully funding schools. We have to make sure that the foundation aid formula is fixed. I'm glad the Rockefeller Commission's looking at it. I think it's going to help some of our rural school districts and our cities. So no, I don't think it's the right way to go about it. I wish we'd go back. I think that's in the 90s that started putting policy into the budget.
Right.
What can we do other than try to continue to have that conversation and fight against it? And I think having someone in the majority, because it hasn't worked. Joe Griffo hasn't been able to make that stop. Right. So why not try have somebody else that can fight for that and actually fight for our area as part of the majority?
Okay, final question, and then I'll have you give your final plea, your final summary. I want to go back to the question I just asked you. You're in Marianne's shoes.
Yeah.
In the same bill is funding for Rome School District, critical funding, and bail reform. How do you vote?
Well, I don't see what's in that. Is it a fixed? Are we talking about a fixed bail reform?
There's a lot in there. There's a lot in there, but this is the criticism she's getting, that she voted for bail reform.
Yeah.
And she's saying, I had no choice.
Yeah. I think if I was in the same situation as Marianne, in that situation, you'd have to, because the funding for
you would vote yes on that.
In that, I haven't seen everything that was in that bill, but with the example,
let's say it was just those two
that
things
you're giving me, yes, I would have to vote yes.
Okay, and then you have anything?
Nope.
You're good. And then your final summary, your final plea to the voters on why they should pull your lever. I know that's an old phrase.
Fill the bubble.
Doesn't happen.
There's no. I voted as well on early on last Saturday, and it's great. So I recommend anybody, if you don't want to wait in the lines, if you want to,
or if you do want to wait in lines.
There was lines on Saturday when I went in NV. But no, get it done early is what I say to people. But my pitch to voters is, I hear so much that people are just, again, tired of the status quo. They're hurting. Things are expensive. Healthcare is expensive. Childcare is expensive. Things that the state could do a little bit more to help. And someone like me can come in with a completely fresh perspective. Coming from the military, where I had to work with people all over the country, from different sides, people from the farthest west to the northeast to down south. They had all different political views. Political views don't matter when you're in the military. I was a registered Independence Party when I was in the military, because politics doesn't matter. So to me, I had to pick a party, but really political parties, fighting for just because of that does not matter to me. So if you want somebody that's going to come in, look at things in an independent, non-biased perspective without 30 years in the political world, because you get a little, I think, you've been doing, when you do it for so long, it just becomes, you sometimes aren't potentially looking at all the different sides. You don't see them anymore because you've been there for so long. So I think it's, why not shake things up? I've heard that from the top of the ticket to the bottom. If people want to shake things up, I ask that they give me a shot. They check out my website. If this, if I haven't convinced them today, which is James Myers, MEYERS.com. Take a look, shoot me a message, ask me a question. Really, I mean it. And I'm going to spend the next 2 years, if and when I'm there, traveling all across the district and listening like I have for the last 10 months, holding town halls, making sure people are heard. I've heard a million times, especially in the far reaches of the district, they feel like they're a little bit left behind. Madison County, Northern Chenango County, they don't hear from their representatives. They don't have town halls. I'm going to do that, and I promise that to everybody.
All right, James Myers, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Thanks for
good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, I say voting is Tuesday, but it's today as well.
Until Tuesday. Tuesday's the last day to vote.
Today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday.
Yes, right.
All right, good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Davey, let's do Habakkuk's free money question of the day. It is worth $300 this morning, and you're looking for caller number what this morning?
Caller number 6, Bill.
Sixth caller right now at 315-736-0186 to WIBX.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code SUPPORT, or text SUPPORT to 511-511 and claim 40% off. roundhouseprovisions.com, code SUPPORT.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You can be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles?
Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Whitesboro Central School District is looking for bus drivers to join their team now. Whitesboro is a leading school system in central New York with 7 schools, 3,100 students, and a 92% graduation rate. You can help drive our students' success. When you drive for Whitesboro, you get pay that's based on your experience, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and summers off. Call Andy at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
Okay then, low miles, real cream puff. Sign here, drive off.
I'd like to read the fine print.
Don't bother, miss.
Mrs. You'd be surprised what you find in the fine print. Like that Prop 1 that's on the ballot.
Equal rights? We love them here at Ace Auto.
Only Prop 1 isn't about equal rights. It's about special rights for illegal immigrants.
Say what?
It's in the fine print. You can read it on the ballot. Under Prop 1, national origin gets constitutional protection.
Huh, that means...
I do my own research.
I noticed.
Well, critics say Prop 1 could block local efforts to deal with the migrant crisis and give illegals a constitutional right to taxpayer benefits. Prop 1 could even open the door for non-citizens to vote here.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm voting no on Prop 1. It's a clunker. Paid for by Vote No on Prop 1 Committee. Vote no on prop1.org.
Hey, it's Matt Walsh, podcaster, best-selling children's author, and world-renowned DEI consultant. My hit comedy and #1 grossing documentary of the decade, Am I Racist?, is now streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus. I went undercover into the world of DEI and got the elites of the establishment to say all the quiet parts out loud. But the only way to watch Am I Racist is with a Daily Wire Plus membership. Head to dailywire.com/subscribe. Use code DEI for 35% off your new annual membership. Don't miss it. Am I Racist? Streaming now exclusively on Daily Wire Plus.
Joe Griffo is there when we need him. No matter how big or small the issue, Joe makes a difference. He has the clout in Albany to get things done, and that's huge for all of us. As Assistant Minority Leader, Joe's helped secure over $1 billion for roads, bridges, and schools, and investments like the Odd, Wynn Hospital, and high-tech jobs at Griffiths and Marcy. We're coming back because Joe Griffo has our back. This fall, vote to re-elect Senator Joe Griffo because Joe gets things done.
This is Senator Joe Griffo, and our recent progress is amazing. But there's so much more to be done to keep the momentum going, whether it's delivering critical aid for infrastructure and schools or supporting small business. I'll keep the pressure on Governor Hochul and the New York City majority to reverse our dangerous bail laws and to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. It's time to give law enforcement the tools that they need to keep us safe. I'm Senator Joe Griffo. I appreciate your support, and I'm asking for your vote. Paid for by Friends of Joe Griffo 2024.
Keeler in the morning, Keeler in the morning.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy, I call you up and ask you if you'd like to go with me and see a movie. First you say no, you got some plans for the night, and then you stop and say, alright, love is kinda crazy with a spooky little girl like you.
Well, it is Halloween, kind of appropriate. And how about this weather for all those trick-or-treaters and the deviants are going to try to throw something bad at your car? The weather's beautiful. You don't have to be tough. You can go out there. It's going to be 70 degrees.
You don't have to brave the elements.
We might reach 80 degrees today. It's really incredible. All right, before we get to Ray Meyer, let's do Habaika's free money question of the day. Each day we give you a chance to win a varied amount of money, and right now we're at $300.
Yeah, Davey's trying to give it away.
And we gave away $200 yesterday, I believe.
Yes,
and
we did.
Rose is in Utica, ready to take a shot. Rose, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rose.
Good morning. I'm Bill, but you're Rose. Don't be nervous.
Good morning.
Don't be nervous. You got to be focused here.
Hyper-focused. Don't be the Yankees in the fifth, okay? All right? You got this.
That's right.
Okay.
All right,
I'll
Rose.
try.
Deep breath. Here we go. For Habaika's, we could end the month of October giving away $500 in 2 days. So here we go. Here's your question. This U.S. state has the only non-rectangular flag. What is it? Ready, go.
The only U.S. state that has a non-rectangular flag. Hawaii.
Is it Hawaii? No.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Is
it New Mexico?
It is Ohio.
Okay.
Ohio. Well, listen, who needed $300 when we can give you the all-in-one food and fun card? It's a $25 gift card good at the Odd, Nexus, Comets, the restaurants associated with, like Aquavino and Taylor and the Cook, Babes, with a wonderful brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. Stand by. Davey's going to hook you up, Rose.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, you wait for Davey. He's coming right to you.
He'll be there soon.
And then, Davey, we do have that the gas promotion to do, which we will pull out in just a few minutes before 8 o'clock, okay? In studio right now is Senator Ray Meyer. I can't. Old habits. Senator.
Once a senator, always a senator.
Always.
The joke is that it's like being a convicted felon. You get to keep the title for the rest of your life.
That's
sort of.
And I do have to say that I always attribute that heated race between you and Mike. Yeah. And it was that 900 call, which you had the commercial that you had nothing to do with. But it came from outside
Came
a pack.
from the National Party, came from the trolls in Washington.
But I got to tell you, if that commercial ran today, it would have had no impact.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't have been as outlandish.
Anything goes today, it seems.
Yeah, and that's sort of sad because, seriously, I mean, people just get exhausted by it or they get used to it.
Right,
and,
or we get,
neither one is good.
I think there's a lot of numbness.
Yeah,
we're just kind of... it's just becoming background noise, wallpaper. Yeah. Okay, you put out an op-ed, and you have some Republicans reeling over it. I didn't talk to you about that, and I'll ask you that question. So you're saying you're not voting for Donald Trump, and you give your reasons why. What do you say to the Republicans who say, how could you do this? Because you also endorsed, basically saying you're going to vote for Kamala Harris. How do you answer? What do you say to the Republicans?
By the way.
You already have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I say to them. I joined a party that had principles. It had certain things that you could reliably think that the Republican Party would stood for. The Republican Party doesn't have principles anymore.
Yeah.
It has the test of whether you're a Republican is loyalty to one man. That's the test. Now, where I start I Ask anybody who's ever served with me or watched me in public office. I'm a conservative Republican.
Yeah.
My brand of conservatism starts with this overarching framework, the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this country. And if we compromise that, if we give up that, then really we have an enormous problem. Those are the very foundation of this country and how we operate. And when people say to me, yeah, well, but what about this issue? What about that issue? What I say to them is, if we don't have our Constitution, if we don't operate with respect for law and the equal application of the law to everybody, then everything else pales in comparison.
You almost you're almost saying that this vote, this election, is the how you cast your vote is a slippery slope.
Yes, it is. And Bill, I think what I was never a Trump fan. I'll confess that. What really ripped it for me was January 6th.
Yeah,
because what he did there was literally an attempt to overthrow a lawful election. He and you know, some people around him, some of them some pretty unsavory people like Roger Stone and Steve Bannon, who was just released from prison.
He said he will be there
2 days ago.
Yeah.
They invited people down. Trump's tweet inviting people said, be in Washington on January 6th. It will be wild. There were speakers. Rudy Giuliani, and there's a shame what happened to that man.
What a fall
who was
from,
an absolute heroic figure during, and Donald Trump ruined that man. He's been disbarred. He's broke. Rudy Giuliani gave a speech at that rally, said it's time for trial by combat. Trump, when he gave his speech, said, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Now, what he points to is what he said at the very end when he said, and now we're going to go down to the Capitol and I'll be with you. Of course, he didn't go with them. He went back to the White House.
Right.
And he said, go peacefully. Now, that's his cover story. What did he think a crowd that had people wearing the kind of Army battle fatigues that I wore when I was in the Army? And carrying riot shields. What did he think they were going to do?
Yeah. So some Republicans, I heard from one who said, I understand you're not liking Trump, but how could you vote for Kamala Harris? So I'll ask you, how could you vote for Kamala? Or Kamala? That's what President Trump calls
she says Kamala.
She does,
I think.
yeah.
So how can I do that? I go back to where I started here, is Trump, I think, has demonstrated that he has contempt and little regard for the Constitution and the rule of law. And then I'll go directly to, I'll spend a couple seconds on why I can swallow hard and vote for Harris.
Because she certainly, by no means, is in line with your conservative values and your political beliefs.
No, she's not. But you know, Trump actually put on Truth Social, and a lot of Trump supporters will challenge me and say, where'd you get that from? It's on Truth Social.
Yeah.
He posted December the 3rd, 2022 on Truth Social that overturning the election allowed for the termination of all laws, rules, and regulations, including those found in the Constitution. That's what he said. So why am I voting for her? I don't hear her talking like that. I don't hear her calling people who disagree with her enemies. And I also think this. It's a very big country and a lot of diversity out there in opinion. Should she win, she's going to have to tack to the middle to get anything done, to govern. She'll do that. She actually has some proposals that are pretty sensible, skewing tax cuts more towards the middle class, who really are the job creators and the engine of the economy out there. some tax benefits for young families, small business assistance, that kind of thing. On the world stage, there's a clear contrast between her and Trump. She sounds more like Ronald Reagan than Trump does on foreign affairs. Trump's very disturbing friendship with Putin. Trump says he'll settle that in one day. Oh, I bet he will. It'll take less than one day to give Vladimir Putin everything he wants. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
She's steadfast on Ukraine. Trump has mused out loud about abandoning NATO. NATO's what kept the peace in Europe for the most part for decades. And by the way, the only time the NATO provision is called Article 5 of the NATO Charter, which says basically if one of us is attacked, and we're all attacked and come to their mutual assistance, the only time that was ever implemented was after December 11th. And there were something like 12 NATO countries who sent troops to Afghanistan. So I find her, I disagree on a lot of stuff. I find agreement on some things, but I come down hard here on just this basic approach of preserving the foundation of this country. You know, we can debate all kinds of stuff later, but if you don't have a firm commitment to the Constitution and the way this country has survived for almost 250 years, you got nothing.
Yeah. These are things that people like George Will, who I think I spoke with you the other day about, a staunch conservative who's being called a rhino. Clearly, the man is conservative, but I'm not sure that we define conservative the same way as we did pre-Trump.
Well, Donald Trump is certainly not a conservative. I guess, you know, we can call ourselves whatever we want, but my view of the conservatism I've held for a long time is you do have a certain observance of the values that have sustained this country, like I say, for some 250 years. And, you know, people define themselves as they will. I don't find Kamala Harris to be this big threatening, as Trump has called her, a lunatic left-winger and so forth. And as I just said, the political reality is Reagan, great president in my view, one of my heroes. Even Reagan used to say, you know, if I have to take half a loaf, I'll take half a loaf, and then maybe I'll work on the other half. But the point is, no matter how conservative you are or liberal you are, you want to govern this country and get stuff done, you got to move to the middle. And she will, should she win.
What do you? We got about 3 minutes speaking with Ray Meyer, who is a longtime Republican conservative. An attorney, a New York State senator, and ran for Congress. What do you say to people and the big Republican statement today is, I don't like him, but I like his policies. How do you respond to that?
Well, I guess I would say, why don't you like him? And what they'll normally come back with, well, he says outrageous things, but that's just Trump being Trump. My response to that is, no, that is not an excuse, and I'll tell you why. What the President of the United States says is listened to by people all over the world. And I don't want a president where everybody who lives in our country and the leaders of every other country in the world have to get up every morning and start it with looking at some bizarre social media post, wondering what the heck he's talking about.
Yeah,
the man is, you know, anything that people can cite to me that say, well, I don't like him personally, he's not who I'd pick to go have a beer with, but you know, this policy, that policy, well. To me, it still goes back to the foundation all the time. He has absolute contempt for the way this country is successfully operated for 2.5 centuries.
And that's a slippery slope.
That's a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
And you know, when he says things like he would employ the military, and he's denied that that's what he really said, but he did say it. He talked about employing the military, and then he went on to name people like Pelosi and Schiff.
And in that case, you believe words matter, and
absolutely words matter.
I do not mean to cut you off, but we have
okay.
a hard news break coming up. I do want to remind people, no matter how you vote, we have early voting underway, and of course the election is Tuesday. Your full letter to the editor, your op-ed, is on our website at WIBX950.com. Right. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for inviting me, Bill. Thanks
I appreciate it.
Listeners.
We have news next.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
The presidential campaign gets trashed. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Former President Trump got inside that in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and then wore a reflective worker's vest on stage, telling supporters they're not garbage after President Biden's comments on Tuesday.
And we know it's what they believe because look how they've treated you. They've treated you like garbage, frankly. They've treated you like garbage. You know what? The truth is they've treated our whole country like garbage.
Now, Vice President Harris also rallied in Wisconsin last night, saying in Madison,
"We know who Donald Trump is. This is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge."
There were also dueling Trump-Harris rallies in North Carolina, and the vice president also went to Pennsylvania, where a new Fox News poll shows the race tied among likely voters, including third-party candidates. Harris is up by 2 points in Michigan. Trump leads by 2 in North Carolina, and both will campaign today in 2 other toss-up states, Arizona and Nevada. More than 58 million Americans have already voted early. Now back to President Biden, calling Trump supporters garbage on Tuesday. The White House insists he didn't mean that. Here's Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
I think it's really important that you have a president that cares about clarifying what they said.
The president maintains he was only referring to a Trump supporter, the comedian who caused controversy at Sunday's New York City rally, calling Puerto Rico garbage. Big celebrations in Los Angeles after the Dodgers won the World Series.
They locked in. Amazing game.
Oh, it was amazing.
Now, some of that celebrating got violent in L.A. A bus was set on fire. Some stores were broken into and looted after the Dodgers beat the Yankees in New York. There'll be a parade tomorrow. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brett became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
5 people are dead in northern Israel, hit by a Hezbollah rocket attack as Israel and those Iran-backed militants keep battling on both sides of the Lebanon border. But the talks continue in the Middle East to stop the war in Gaza and the fighting in Lebanon.
On Wednesday, the new leader of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, spoke for the first time since being appointed to Secretary General. Now, Qassem said he would continue fighting Israel, but he did appear open to a possible ceasefire agreement under the right conditions. The former deputy head of the late Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah also took a chance to make an open incitement against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whose house was targeted earlier this month with a Hezbollah drone. Qassem said he survived this time, but perhaps he would be killed by someone in Israel.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. North Korea has launched another missile test condemned by the U.S. and South Korea and Japan. who have said this was a test of a new intercontinental ballistic missile that's far-reaching. And North Korea's leader again said he is bolstering his nuclear forces. We'll get an inflation update later this hour, a gauge of consumer prices the Federal Reserve tracks closely as it considers another interest rate cut. On Wall Street, ahead of that report, a stock sell-off is brewing. Dow futures down about 200 points the day after the NASDAQ fell from its record high. Back to the World Series now. Here's how the Dodgers won it last night.
L.A. pulled off the largest comeback in a World Series clinching game to claim the 8th championship in franchise history. The Dodgers defeated the New York Yankees 7-6 in Game 5 after trailing 5-0. L.A. benefited from 2 Yankee errors and some mental mistakes to score 5 unearned runs in that 5th inning. Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez each delivered 2-run base hits in the 5th. L.A. then took the lead for good on a Mookie Betts sacrifice fly in the 8th. Bob Mortale, Fox News.
Freddie Freeman was named the World Series MVP. The Dodger had a record-tying 12 runs batted in. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time, 8:05. I'm Andrew Dominio. 55 degrees under cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. This update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica and Commercial Drive in Yorkville. 5 people were hit and injured by a car on Blandina Street in Utica Wednesday afternoon. It first started with a call to 911 regarding a fight on the 400 block of Blandina near 2nd Street. Around 45 minutes later, more calls for help came in after reports that 5 people were struck by a vehicle. Utica police say it happened just after 3 p.m. near 2nd Street. All 5 victims were transported to Wynn Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. They say the driver fled the scene but was later pulled over on Mohawk Street. Police say they are questioning a suspect in connection with the incident. 2 Herkimer County residents are facing charges for allegedly selling drugs out of a hotel in Herkimer. Police say 40-year-old Tyrell West of Richfield Springs is charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance and criminal use of drug paraphernalia. 27-year-old Erica LeClaire of Alien is charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance. Herkimer police say they searched their vehicle and found prepackaged crack cocaine, scales, and a ledger of drug sales. Herkimer police believe the drugs were used, or rather being sold, out of the Red Roof Inn on Mohawk Street in Herkimer. Utica police are announcing the arrest of a man after a stabbing at the Utica Rescue Mission. Police say they were called to the mission just before midnight on Tuesday. Upon arrival, they were met by the victim, who stated he and a male whom he was familiar with engaged in an argument. During the course of the argument, the suspect grabbed a knife and stabbed the victim completely through the wrist. Other individuals who were present were then able to secure the knife away from the suspect and keep him close. The victim was transported to Wynn Hospital for treatment. The suspect was placed into custody and ultimately transported to Utica Police Headquarters to be charged. 56-year-old Joseph Fields is facing charges of assault in the 2nd degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the 3rd degree. House leaders, the 2 top leaders in each respective party, are coming to Central New York ahead of Election Day. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson will hold a campaign rally for incumbent 22nd District Congressman Brandon Williams in Syracuse tomorrow. On Saturday, Democrat and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is going to host an event in support of Williams' opponent, State Senator John Manion. The 22nd District could end up deciding what party takes control of the House in 2025. We'll speak with Senator Manion coming up on First News with Keeler in the morning. He'll be in studio in minutes. And beachfront property in Southern California has its benefits, but this week, not so much. A pungent stench coming off the water is making life miserable. The Dodgers were in New York, so it wasn't them. Scientists explain that it is due to a season bloom of microscopic algae that earlier this month was responsible for bioluminescent waves that gave off a blue glow at night. As that algae die off, hydrogen sulfide gas is emitted, which smells like rotten eggs. Soon after, bacteria feeds on the decomposing algae, depriving the surrounding water of oxygen, which kills off fish, making the stench even worse. For local residents who've had to hold their nose for about a week, the smell should be gone in a matter of days.
Before Andrew gives you the Weather Channel's weather forecast, I want to tell you in just a moment, WIBX and Cliff's Local Market going to give you a chance to win a $25 gas card and qualify to win tomorrow a $500 gas card.
Here's the latest forecast from the WIBX Weather Center. It's going to be a dry start to this Halloween. Clear early, then mostly sunny and warm this afternoon. A high soaring into the upper 70s. Ahead of a front tonight, increasing clouds, but for trick-or-treaters, all that rainfall holds off until the overnight hours with a low down to 53. Windy and cooler with scattered showers tomorrow after a morning high in the low 60s. Temperatures will fall into the low 50s with gusty winds out of the west. Then sunshine for the weekend as highs hit the low to mid-50s. I'm Jeff Marr at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, we're at 56 degrees under cloudy skies at 8:09. Sports brought to you by IBEW Nika 43 local contractor.
Can I just if you don't mind, I'm going to shut your mic off and simply play this from last night. Well, apparently I'm not. You're lucky. I'll play in a second. Last night was a very tough fifth inning. It was just shocking.
They'll forever be haunted by the number 5. It was the Game 5, fifth inning, 5-0 lead that was blown with 5 runs scored, and ultimately the Dodgers took the Fall Classic, and really nobody should be surprised. The Dodgers were the better team, and, putting my bitterness aside, hats off to them. They were an incredible team, an amazing lineup. The pitching came in when they needed to. The Yankees, lucky to be in the Fall Classic, to say the least.
And here's what it sounded like. It's still not bad. All right, forget it. I give up.
So, yes, now we move on to football. Tonight kicks off Week 9, I think, right? Week 9 kicks off with the Houston Texans taking on the New York Jets. It'll be a great matchup for one of the teams, and you'll hear it right here on WIBX. And the Bills will take on the Dolphins this Sunday at Highmark Stadium, and police officials warning, just be careful of ticket scams when you're going to get tickets for the game.
Are you done?
No, because I want to let you know that Dr. Tim Delmedico and his staff at
Well, before you go there, let me try a third time. Very much like the game of baseball. You get 3 strikes, and let's see if I'm out.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
They were in love with the Dodgers the whole series.
But listen, I don't know. I thought they were pretty much in love with the Yankees when the Yankees were winning. And then all of a sudden the 5th inning came along. But I got to say this. I will never forget when the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series last night. I will never forget because I said, here I am quietly with the volume down watching on my phone, watching YouTube TV, and I said, "Oh my God." And my wife said, "Will you please be quiet?" And that was our big moment last night with the Yankees losing, the Dodgers winning. "Will you please shut up? I'm trying to sleep."
Yeah.
Well, that was a moment you couldn't stay quiet. I never thought it would happen. I thought there would have been a miracle solo shot that would have sent us into extra innings.
I didn't think
I
that
was
at
thinking
all.
it.
You're facing the bottom of the bottom of the lineup there,
and it didn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right, now do your thing.
I need to go see Dr. Tim Delmedico because the pain is too unbearable of the Yankees' loss. No, but if you are dealing with neck, back, knee, arthritis, shoulder pain, foot and ankle pain like I was experiencing earlier this year, I actually went and experienced SoftWave for myself. It's a device that sends high-speed sound waves to the impacted area, which promotes blood flow and your body's natural stem cells to target that area to promote natural healing. It's a great alternative for pain medication and pain injections that you'll have to go to the doctor to get every so often. And this SoftWave technology is so advanced, it's developed in Germany, it's now here in Utica. It's being used across the country in major medical facilities like the Cleveland Clinic, Yale Medicine, Stanford Healthcare, UCLA Health, Harvard Medical School, Northwestern Medicine, and the list goes on. Major sports teams have this device in their locker rooms, like the Dodgers. They have it. Also, the Broncos, Cowboys, they're dealing with a lot of pain this season. The Falcons, the Saints, the Steelers, and the Dolphins, all utilizing the technology of SoftWave therapy. And you can go to Dr. Tim Delmedico and his staff right at Genesee Street, 2709 Genesee Street in South Utica to be exact. Give them a try. Let them know you heard about them on the Keeler Show. and they will give you a discount on your initial consultation, which will include a soft wave therapy treatment, and they'll put you on a treatment and recovery plan that's right for you. Dr. Tim believes in it so much, he sold his chiropractic business to solely focus on providing relief with soft wave. Give them a try. 315-725-8427. 315-725-8427. Let the healing begin with Revive Softwave Therapy. ReviveUtica.com.
All right, we're underway with a really cool contest called Free Fuel Fridays. WIBX and Cliff's Local Market giving you the opportunity to win a $500 gas card every Friday through Thanksgiving. Each day during the week, we give one qualifier here on the air and one through the WIBX 950 app. Just download the app. It's free. Download it. And at some point, you'll be seeing where you can, I believe you click on a button and it'll explain how you can qualify.
On the app, it says Free Fuel Friday. Each
day you win, somebody wins a $25 gift card through the app as well. And then on Fridays, we take 8 of those qualifiers. Tomorrow we'll do it. And pick one of them to win a $500 gas card. So I'm looking for caller number 5 right now. You'll win a $25 gas card and qualify for tomorrow's $500 gas card, which would mean, all in all, the winner will walk away with $525 in free gas. Pretty cool. Coming up, we have a couple of things to get to. Vince Akavazi is running against Dan Ina for the 3rd District Coroner down in Herkimer County. In studio in a little while, Democratic challenger to Brandon Williams, John Manion, for the Congressional seat. He is a current New York State Senator. He'll be in studio. And later on, John Decker gives us a wrap on the whole week. John Decker is the chief White House correspondent for Great TV. Mr. Akavazi coming up next at WIBX.
Our nation is at a crossroads. In Albany, John Manion and Kathy Hochul support radical policies like cashless bail, which releases violent criminals back into our communities. Worse, John Manion and Kathy Hochul support defunding the police, taking officers and equipment off of the streets when we need them the most. Now, Manion's running for Congress, threatening to take Hochul's terrible ideas to Washington, D.C. There's a better choice. Navy veteran Brandon Williams. A former nuclear submarine officer, Brandon Williams has a new mission, defending central New York from the Hochul-Manion agenda. Unlike John Manion, Brandon Williams knows how to keep our families safe. In Congress, he's secured millions for local law enforcement, giving cops the tools they need to keep violent criminals behind bars. On or before November 5th, vote for Navy veteran Brandon Williams for Congress.
I'm Brandon Williams, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Brandon for NY 22.
Jobs down. Crime up. 200,000 migrants reach New York. The headlines haven't changed. For 15 years, Kirsten Gillibrand's talked the talk, but she hasn't walked the walk. Gillibrand's failed to fix the economy, and she helped pass cashless bail and open the southern border.
I'm Mike Sapricone. I spent 20 years as a New York City cop, working the toughest beat in the country. Then I started a global security business right here in New York. I've traveled to every county and every corner of the Empire State, and I've heard the same thing. People tell me they haven't seen Kirsten Gillibrand for years, and I say you couldn't even pick her out of a lineup. I spent my life getting things done. It's time to finally get serious about fighting crime, creating jobs, and ending the migrant crisis. Let's get going. I'm Mike Sapricone, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sapricone for Senate.
Now, the big wireless companies want to limit you to 2 choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. Now, stop overpaying for data that you're never, ever going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when all you need is a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. Now, with Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data that you actually want and need. And for example, for $25 a month, you'll get unlimited talk and text, 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, and they'll include mobile hotspot and roaming in 50-plus countries. Stop overpaying for wireless. Get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, and do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. The switch is simple, fast, and easy. No contract to sign, no activation fee, and you keep your phone and your phone number. Pound 250, keyword, save now the same service for much less, for about half, from Pure Talk.
Do you work in the furniture or bedding industry? Are you concerned about your company's future? Do you feel like your company may be a sinking ship? This is Kevin Fear, president of Mattress Express, and I may have your lifeboat. You can apply confidentially at mattressexpressny.com. All resumes come directly to me, so they're confidential. At Mattress Express, no one else has all the brands under one roof that we have in New York State. We're a top performer in our markets. Our people work a 4-day work week, have an excellent life-work balance. You don't have to work every weekend. A dollar for dollar matching 401k and top compensation in the industry. Don't wait till the ship sinks and the lifeboat is full. Go to mattressexpressny.com, apply confidentially, and talk to us. What do you have to lose?
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, I have a lot of comments we'll get to coming up in a second. So get ready for that. And a lot of people commenting on Ray Meyer, and we'll talk about that. Daylight Donuts. So let me just say to you, every day at Daylight Donuts, there is a new soup of the day to warm your little heart, because you're going to need it. Every day there's a different soup, and you can enjoy it at Daylight Donuts. Just ask what their soup of the day is. There's soup du jour. Each and every day. Homemade soups. There's also added to the list of sandwiches served on croissant and bagels.
Bagel,
I should say, chicken salad, a homemade chicken salad.
Yeah.
Avocado toast, really, really amazing with French peasant bread. Snowflake rolls. The snowflake rolls are awesome for your Thanksgiving dinner. I order them in advance. I order 2 dozen every year. And for an office, think about a box of coffee. You bring Seattle's best coffee. It's so good. And it's about 10 good-sized cups of coffee in that box. Pumpkin spice is in year-round, but not the donuts. Pumpkin donuts, apple cider donuts, and the sour cream donuts are so good. Daylight Donuts with a speedy drive-thru located in the village of New Hartford. Vince Akavazi is running for coroner in Herkimer County in the 3rd district, and he's on the line with us right now.
So my first question, I'm sorry to cut you off. I know he's on the line with us because this has been burning me up with curiosity. No. It's a question for Vince.
Okay. Here's Vince Akavazi. Good morning, Vince. Good morning.
Good morning and happy Halloween. And
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween at 80 degrees. We're going to be close to 80 degrees today. It's just crazy.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So my burning question is, again, it may be obvious to some, but what does a coroner do, and how many does Herkimer County have? I mean, there's you're running for the 3rd district coroner. How many others are there?
There's 4 total in Herkimer County, and a coroner's job is to find cause and manner of death, either natural or unnatural.
Okay.
And I do that with the federal government, so I do have some qualifications. I emailed you guys my qualifications.
We did see that.
We saw it, yep.
I do have to say, Herkimer County has 4. I don't think Oneida County has 1.
No, we got to go out
medical
to
examiner in Onondaga County, I believe.
Oneida County has, they have investigators that work through Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office. A medical examiner's office, of course, is fairly expensive to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
So they contracted with Onondaga County to provide services. So their investigators will actually go to a scene and decide whether or not it needs to go to Syracuse for autopsy.
Okay. All right. And tell people why they should vote for you in this upcoming election. They may have already voted. You have till Sunday.
That's such a strange thing,
Yeah.
getting into the home stretch. People have already cast their votes in a lot of cases.
What are you? Why should people vote for you?
Well, I've served with the federal government since 1993, and one of my jobs is to find cause and manner of death at disasters. I have extensive training. Every year we have training, whether it's online or actual physical. And probably when you guys were trying to get a hold of me, I was probably still at the Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. So I apologize for not being able to get back to you. But there was intermittent services there.
Yeah. So you were working down there for, obviously, if you're a coroner, for some very terrible reasons.
Yes. The thing that happened down there was so many people had passed away because of the hurricane. We're actually set up in a portable, not a portable morgue, but they have like a location in Asheville where the medical examiner's office works out of, and that's where they positioned me. So when I was there, it was 3 weeks.
Okay. I do want to, and you feel you are absolutely more qualified than Dan Enya, who's running against you in the 3rd District.
Well, everybody has qualifications, and anyone can be coroner. Even you could, Bill, if you wished.
I don't think I could do it. I
couldn't stomach that.
I don't have the stomach for it.
We do a lot when I've been a funeral director for, I think, 40-some-odd years. So there's not much I haven't seen yet and haven't done. And all the training I get through New York State Coroners and Medical Examiners Association, I'm very active with them. But I'm also very active with the DMORT team, which is a federal team. And I also work with New York State Funeral Directors Association. We have a family assistance center. So most of the things I've done lead into being a coroner locally. I can bring the knowledge and the expertise that I've been given to Herkimer County, and that's pretty important to do because you have to rely on the coroner and police department to solve any crimes they may have committed and also answer family questions because there's a lot of questions people may have on cause and manner of death.
Our family just recently went through that, and we waited quite some time in Oneida County because it came out of Onondaga County, but it is oftentimes you're dealing with families at a very, very difficult I'm really almost always dealing with families at a very difficult time. And I don't want to turn this into something more than it is, but I would be remiss if I did not at least bring it up. There have been people, although we did talk to your opponent, who decided to say that he was staying out of it. However, there are some videos on YouTube challenging your residency, and we're dealing with one of those issues in Oneida County right now. This video seems to show that you don't live in the place where you say you do, which would mean you live just outside the district. Can you address that and tell us your thoughts? And then it did get heated when the videographer had the camera in your face, and there were some words that were dropped, including calling your opponent the F word, which not the F-U-C, word, but the other one. So I just want you to address that, and if you could.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked because there's a lot of issues with that. And I do apologize to my opponent, and I apologize to anyone that may be offended by that word. But prior to all this going on, because this was shot in April. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
This was not shot recently.
I did not know that.
This was done in April. And prior to this individual coming onto my property, his name is, they call him Mr. Nice Guy, but it's Richard Pattengale. And he was on my property in Herkimer. He was on my property in Frankfurt. And he was walking around and videotaping around my building. Now, we all know there's some sanctuary with our own area, our property, right? And he was in the backyard of my funeral home in Frankfurt, and I was inside my office, and I was working. But he was videotaping everything. And then he came to the front door of the funeral home, started ringing the doorbell, pretty much, quite a bit. But I was already told by my neighbors that there was an individual out there looking around for me.
Yeah.
So they were a little offended because this individual, Richard Pattengale, was videotaping them also, which nobody knew because it was kind of a hidden little device. It wasn't a real camera that you could see. It was on his body, and nobody seemed to know it was there. I didn't know, of course. And he came on my property and started questioning me. And it continued on. It didn't stop. And unfortunately, I said some things out of the heat of the second And I'm sure you've said some things you wish you could take back, Bill.
Never in my life. No, never.
That question. Let me ask your wife that.
Yeah, no, please don't. Don't ask her, please. Yeah. Okay. I understand that, yes, but continue.
Yeah. Okay, so we had found out that this Richard Pettingale from Manion was videotaping my children going to school. Well, they're not. They're my Julie's children, but they live with us, and I have the apartment in Herkimer. It's 327 South Washington Street. So I come back and forth as needed, but I'm on the second floor there. So when I found out he was videotaping his children, and the children come from kind of a bad background. And this really troubles them, that somebody's actually videotaping them. They don't know if it's their former families. They don't know anything about that. So what ended up happening was we called the Frankfort police and filed a report about Mr. Nice Guy, Richard Pettingale. And what happened was they said if he comes back, call us. Well, we haven't really seen him back here, but this was all in April.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks before the election, he posted the video. But in September, he sent word to me that if I didn't back out of the race for coroner, he was going to publish this video. A little bit of extortion going on. So, as you would be, you get kind of angry and you say, wait a minute, I'm not going to back out because of this guy.
Yeah.
And let him post it. And let me explain what happened. And now people can understand what actually happened there. I mean, we were being harassed by somebody calling in the middle of the night on cell phones, and they were calling the answering service and then hanging up. They were all unknown numbers. So when we talked to the police department, they're like, what are you going to do? You're in an election, people can do this to you. And we understand.
Yeah, I think what he does, I mean, he does tape, and that is, he has a right in a public place to be able to tape. But I also can understand from your standpoint how this could be infuriating. So listen, I would have made a mistake if I didn't ask you the question. I'm glad we gave you an opportunity to be able to reference it, because it is a video that's out there and has been spread, and being able to address it, I think, is all positive. So I appreciate that.
Well, I do apologize to Danny. He's a good kid. We just have different ideas about how to run for election, I guess. We want to keep it clean. We don't want this. Nobody wants it. He doesn't want it. I don't want it. Yep. Nobody wants this issue. And that being said, I hope it's over with, because the people who have called me some have been very rude about it. And I said, let me explain to you. And they don't want to hear the explanation. I mean, when it comes to your children and your children, anybody's children, what is the first thing that comes? You got to protect your kids.
Yeah.
And these children, we have to protect even more so because of circumstances that where they come from.
All right.
And, and they're pretty traumatized. Like every day they walk out the door and they look to see if there's somebody videotaping them. They don't know what's going to happen. So every morning we get a phone call from the kids saying, okay, I'm at school, or I'm, we've done everything we can do to protect the two kids.
Okay.
I mean, because Brianna's 16 and Ronnie is 14. So, and this all happened in April. And all summer long, they were concerned that this was going to happen again. So that being said, can we put this one to rest and talk about qualifications?
Well, I think we've done that, and I appreciate it, and we wish you the best. Obviously, early voting is underway through Sunday, and Tuesday is the day. For a lot of people, these campaigns have been very, very difficult, and it even seeps down into the very, very local races like you're going through right now. So we wish you the best, Vince. Thank you for taking the time and taking the time to give us the explanation.
You have a wonderful day, and happy Halloween to everybody.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Got a break. Coming up, we'll speak with John Manion. He's a Democrat running for Congress against Brandon Williams. He is in studio coming up next.
You'll find no shortage of work to do in a New Holland Workmaster or Boomer compact tractor. Available now at Clinton Tractor. Get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no payments for 90 days, or choose cash back on these 24 to 55 horsepower compact and subcompact tractors. Stop into Clinton Tractor today or at clintontractor.net. Offer ends soon.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Watch captivating dramas and gripping mysteries, whether it's entire series of massive hits like Sherlock and Vera, new seasons of originals like The Responder, starring international Emmy winner Martin Freeman, or an extraordinary selection of beloved treasures featuring Idris Elba, Jodie Comer, Matthew McFadden, Benedict Cumberbatch, and more. Only on BritBox. Watch with a free trial at BritBox.com.
It's not stopping. The lies and mudslinging just keep coming.
It's time to tune out the negativity.
We're educators who know John Manion. Trust him.
This guy gets it.
He spent 25 years in the classroom, inspiring students for a generation.
He took that spirit to the state senate,
fighting for us, delivering record education funding.
50,000 jobs right here with the Micron Project. Record middle-class tax cuts.
All while protecting our freedoms.
In Congress, he'll lower costs for our families, protect Social Security and Medicare, and stand up to extremists.
So the next time you see some angry ads and grainy video, tune them out.
Take it from real educators. John Manion will have our back. He always has.
Vote John Manion by November 5th. Common ground over chaos.
Paid for by NY Common Ground, nycommonground.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NY Common Ground is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Assemblyman Brian Miller thanks those people of the 122nd Assembly District who took the time to share their concerns during the campaign. With voting underway and the polls open on Election Day from 6 a.m. till 9, Brian has heard a lot of stories that people will be taking with them into the voting booth. Inflation and public safety are among the most talked about, but there's so much more, like education and healthcare, veterans and farmers. Brian Miller continues to work to help create opportunity for young people. That includes taking advantage of the new high-tech industry spreading across the Mohawk Valley. And Brian knows the importance of protecting our upstate values, which includes preserving our Second Amendment rights. And Brian takes his service to the community seriously. If you have a problem with state government or services, call Brian at his office in Albany or here locally. He's always ready to help. And when you vote this week, please vote for Brian Miller. He's working for all of us. Paid for by Brian Miller for Assembly.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Hair Volume from New Nordic is trusted by millions of women around the world. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Hey, I want to just a couple of things. Remind you about an amazing Italian buffet, which happens at Tony's in Washington Mills every day from 11 till 3. And it is, I had a chance to see this again yesterday, and there are new items all the time. Everything from Virginia ham to pork tenderloin, chicken cacciatore, the list goes on. Amazing desserts, which are homemade every day. And we talked about that yesterday. And just some really incredible variations of Italian foods and all of that. Check it out. It's available at Tony's in Washington Mills every day for lunch, 11 till 3. You could get there just before 3. You really could make it your dinner. Take it home. $15.95 a person, $9.99 for kids 5 to 10. Under 5 are free. Tony's in Washington Mills. And also, if you're looking for a brand new vehicle, I tell you, the Mazda is amazing. Winning races and building award-winning vehicles for over 100 years. And right now, as Ricky Z says, Steve Ponte Mazda is offering the new 2024 Mazda CX-30 SE model for $269 a month on a 36-month lease. Or save with 0% or 0.9% APR financing on select new 2024 Mazdas. See Rick or any of the people at Steve Ponte Mazda for details. As Rick says, let's make your deal on a new Mazda where it's always easy to do business. Steve Ponte Mazda, Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
You know, there's some holidays that annoy me. Christmas because of the music, Halloween because of the music.
Yeah.
Here we are. And it's going to be 80 degrees
I like
today
the Halloween stuff a little
on
better.
Halloween. It's hard to believe.
Strange in your neighborhood.
And I just stopped it.
A lot of people play that song for some of the political activity that goes on. There's something strange.
Something strange in the neighborhood. I mean,
not here though.
We're good. Since COVID, I don't know what has happened, but when someone knocks on my door, I duck. Right. Immediately we duck because they could be looking in the windows. I mean,
thank God for Ring cameras. Go away.
Who would knock on our door?
Yeah.
And the other day it happened to me, and all of a sudden, was a scary moment. I was taking a brief nap that was unplanned. It's called sitting down and falling asleep. and this was like 11 o'clock in the morning. Somebody knocking on the door, and I woke up to it. And I go immediately to our security cameras, and the power went out.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I'm
almost
thinking
like it was
the
on
worst.
purpose.
I am thinking the worst. And I'm hearing noises. It looks like somebody's trying to do something into the house. And I finally went outside, and it was the National Grid guy changing my
yeah, the smart meter now.
My meter. So now apparently it's smart, which probably means it's going to cost me more. John Manion.
Less mistakes.
Good morning, and thanks for coming in studio.
Thank you for having me on again, Keeler. I appreciate it.
So here we are. What's the? I think we've begun calling this the final argument. Your closing argument. What is yours?
Thanks. Yeah. Listen, I'm a native Central New Yorker. I lived here my whole life. I watch the challenges that we face. I think I know what our priorities are, and where we're coming from, our history, how people are built. We're hardworking people. We have a sense of humor about us. We're resilient. We pick each other up. We're kind, and we expect our leaders to perform a certain way, which is to deliver, work together, because we're not at the edges of the political spectrum, and not tear each other down. So, that's the overarching theme. But as somebody who has represented areas outside of the county where I live in, I'm going to be here to work for everybody, and that's the reason I'm here. We're in Oneida County. I'm going to be all over the district. I make it a point to prove to people I'm not just saying these words. I act on these words, and you can ask the places where I've already represented, and I believe they would say, yeah, he works hard and he cares.
If elected, will you have a full-time office in Utica?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a debate the other night, and it's interesting because this is with Trump in the race. This has it's almost an all bets are off type world we're living in. There's a lot of heated agreement and disagreement, a lot more disagreement than agreement. And even in cases where we had a former state senator in Ray Meyer who was on a little while ago, and by some of the comments, and we'll read some of those comments coming up, I think a lot of Republicans are very angry that he's saying he's not voting for Donald Trump. And one of the reasons he gives for not only not voting for Trump, but voting for Kamala Harris already is January 6th. And as a part of the debate the other night, you seem to be put off at the fact that your opponent, Brandon Williams, made a comment about January 6th. And I'd like your take on that.
Well, I mean, listen, if it wasn't for January 6th, I would not be here. I ran for Congress because I could not believe what I was seeing. It happened to be the first day that I was working as a New York State Senator. I was in Albany, and television was on in the other room, and somebody said, you got to come in here. So this is unprecedented. And we have a great country. We have a great history, and we do, you mentioned that it's not as black and white as most people think, but because of the toxicity of politics, it has become you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. So for me, there's a bunch of things here. Number one, the phrase "stop the steal" didn't start on January 6th of 2020. It started with Ted Cruz winning the Iowa caucuses in 2016. So we're sowing doubt into our election systems, and I've won 2 close elections and I've lost 1. I watched our election system working. So sowing doubt in the system is very not just scary, it's dangerous to our democracy. The insurrection that occurred was also unprecedented, unbelievable to me. And then there was, an impeachment process that when it was the old 24th District, Representative Katko voted for impeachment to move it to a Senate trial. It's not just that. It's the assemblage of fake Electoral College delegates. It is pressuring the Secretary of State in Georgia. And people have gone to jail for this, federal prison for it. And this is serious, and that's why to dismiss or discount what happened on those days before and after in 2016 and 2020 and again in 2024 is our election systems are working. They're triple checked. They're run professionally, and if anyone does engage in voter fraud, the penalties are severe, as they should be.
Brandon Williams, I believe, said that he believed that this is more political than anything else.
This is serious. I mean, this is serious. This is when we're talking about threats to our democracy and an insurrection, not engaging in a peaceful transfer of power, that is bad for everybody, bad for everybody's kids and grandkids, Republicans and Democrats. And that's why I think you have individuals like Senator Meyer and others that have stood up and said, like, we've got to work together to find real solutions in this country. We have a great country, but we have things that we have to address, and we have to address them together. The divisiveness is going to, and is to a degree, has really hurt us and destroyed us. So when it comes to something as serious as our election systems and the peaceful transfer of power, that's why you have individuals who are in a party, the Republican Party, saying, like, this is the first time ever I'm voting for a Democrat for the White House because of the seriousness of this, and I share their concern 100%.
It does seem to be people are very dug in. And let's say you do win, there are going to be many of those people, whether Trump wins or Harris wins. There will be many people in your district, especially in Oneida County. Most likely, I don't think there's really a big question about it. Trump will carry Oneida County. You're going to have many of those, quote, MAGA people. How will you handle them as constituents?
Well, I already do as constituents. We have to work together. I have 33 municipalities right now. 29 of them have Republican leadership, and certainly there's towns in my district that I lost by 70. Right? I mean, not 70 votes, 85-15. Those are my constituents. People email our office, call our office, attend the senior fairs or the veterans fairs that I've conducted. We're not checking party affiliation cards. I represent these people, and I'm from here. So I know that we go across the entire, I do believe most of us are in the middle, but we go across, and it's my duty to represent everyone. And certainly if somebody has an issue and comes to my office, just like they would, Joe Griffo or any Joe Griffo's office, he works to help people. I work to help people. And I think by and large, your elected officials are doing just that, making sure that when their constituents need support, you help them.
I want to give you a chance, if you like. We're speaking with John Manion, running for Congress in the 22nd Congressional District. I want to give you a chance to answer the clip that I see over and over again on TV, and it's the one where you're saying they're worried that they're going to be bringing busloads of people. And you make a bit of a disparaging remark, at least in the clip. Explain yourself there, please.
Yeah. So first of all, that was taken out of context. It was part of a much longer conversation. And one thing that I really have issue with is messaging, right? So we are now over a year from when the migrant crisis started here, and some of those things that were being perpetuated out there have not occurred here.
Right.
And that was really what I was saying there. I'm here to work with everybody. I listen to everybody's concerns, and I listen to the concerns regardless of what anyone's party affiliation is. What we need to do is work towards a comprehensive immigration reform that adds more border security agents, that funds our asylum courts, that changes the asylum system, because what has happened is individuals seeking asylum have found a way around the process, have found like little glitches in the system, so they're coming here, and then they don't have an asylum hearing for a year and a half because we're not funding our courts. That's something that we need to do, and as a result, that contributes to a broken immigration system. We have to acknowledge that it's broken, and it's going to take bipartisan work and some political will and courage to fix it. So I have great relationships with certainly members of the agricultural community who are using individuals that are migrant workers that are on the H-2A visa program, and they talk about the great relationships they have that are based on mutual respect, but they also talk about how the system could be better for them, and it's part of what we need in this country. We have a history of immigration. Most of us are the children of immigrants or grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So we should be able to treat people humanely and still make sure we have secure borders in this country.
It is interesting, the commercials, and to be fair, commercials on both sides, they take an element of truth, usually out of context, and it's bopped into the middle of assumptions that follow. One of them for you is that you're all in on Kathy Hochul. You've supported every move she's made. Bail reform.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Okay, a few things. So first of all, we've got the largest private investment in the history of this country coming into central New York that's going to be good for the entire region.
We'll get into that. I do want to ask about the Syracuse
I'll move
story.
on. I'll move on to the law enforcement piece, right? But again, you've got to work with people and you've got to oppose people, and I've got a record of doing that. I've rejected majority legislation the fourth most time of 42 Democratic senators. But I mentioned Micron because that doesn't happen without Republicans and Democrats going, this is good for the region, we got to do this. As far as the bail reform laws go, those were passed before I was in office. They were done with good intentions, which was trying to create equity in the justice system. And, I talked to district attorneys and law enforcement. A lot of times, low-level crimes, bail wasn't set anyway because these are not violent crimes. They were doing it with regardless of the law. It's just that the law was changed before I was in, but there were clearly mistakes in the law. So let's go do something about it. And I listened, and I was a very strong voice in the legislation negotiations to try to get as much as we could fixed, give judges more discretion, make more crimes bail eligible, remove the least restrictive means, which means the lowest level at which certain things could be set, bail or remanding, and address the reoffending issue. So, I watch and have heard the ads. They're just not true because I've worked.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting I didn't work along to pass cashless bail because I was not there when that happened. What I have done is listened to people and then acted to try to fix it. That doesn't make the headlines necessarily, and it certainly provides for provides for good political.
And there is a coalition of Democrats and Republicans who are upstate New Yorkers who have much different needs and wants than those that are in the city.
I was that voice every single day I've been in office in Albany, which is, let me explain why this piece of legislation or this budget priority is not necessarily in the best interest of the people I represent. And when it came to housing policy, I'll just pick one. Not by accident, but myself and people that represent places like Buffalo, Albany, Rochester, Syracuse, Hudson Valley, got tens of millions of dollars for infill housing so that we can fill vacant properties, renovation of commercial to residential funds. It's things like that we're not the Bronx. We're not Astoria, Queens. We're different. We operate differently. We've got a lot of small landlords that really do a great job, and let's get it right. And therefore, we advocated for, negotiated, and got a lot of money, not New York City money, upstate money for housing programs to get it right and what works for our community.
Final question for John Manion, congressional candidate here in NY22. Post-Standard reporting today that the former president, Donald Trump, has really criticized the Micron deal, saying the law that actually created this is actually bad. The Post-Standard asking the question, if he wins, will he try to disrupt the deal? Your take on their take?
Well, I'm very concerned on that. I do believe that probably the greatest threat to these projects would be if you get someone in the White House that didn't believe it in the first place. So, let's remember why this is happening. We had supply chain challenges across the world, and there was an acknowledgement that we need to onshore semiconductor chip manufacturing. 85% of those chips are made either in Taiwan or in other places, including Taiwan. I think it's 85% there. And if there's a geopolitical conflict with Taiwan or anything else that might occur, we're going to be in an awful spot. We couldn't get new cars on the lot as a result of not having these chips.
Yeah.
So there's been a commitment from multiple parties, and our region is so well suited because of our clean water, our clean energy, our great K-12 institutions, our community college, higher ed. We're already filling that tech space here in Oneida County and Onondaga County, so we were well positioned for this. We needed a state program, which is called Green Chips, which I was the co-prime sponsor of. I worked hard to make sure I got it done. We got to have it happen because I watched the tough days of the 80s and 90s when those jobs went away, and now we're on the precipice of something great. It's got to happen, not just good for the region, but good for our national security.
30-second close.
So, listen, I appreciate you being on. I will say this. You'll either see a lot of me and I'll be in studio, or you'll never see me again. But I ask people for their vote. I'm a homegrown kid here. I understand what has happened to our economy over time. I've seen how we pivoted. I know that we work together. I understand politically where we are. We're a swing district because, we've got representatives in Albany that are Republican and Democrat. We've got county executives that are Republicans and members of Congress that are Republican and have been Democrats in the past. So this is who we are, and this is who I am. I'm here to work with everybody and represent the people of the region and be a good reflection of them in Washington.
All right. John Manion, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting, as you say. You'll either see a lot of me or you won't see any of me. I do say that we've had situations before where Congress people have won and then we never saw them again. I challenge you to make sure that never happens.
Understood.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me go to John Decker. Before I do that, portions of the program today brought to you by New York Sash. Their bathroom makeover sale is going on right now. It is you need a break from me?
Yeah, I need a break.
Oh, you're looking at me like that.
You need a break.
It's a 20% off sale going on right now at New York Sash for their bathroom makeover. You can see the bathrooms right there in store in Whitesboro on Oriskany Boulevard. Go to NewYorkSash.com. And by the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski is back. And they're accepting new patients. The area's only osteopathic clinic, and it's the Falcon Clinic located in Washington Mills. Call today if you are looking to schedule an appointment. They are now accepting new patients. Quickly, John Decker, I'm going to tell you I'm being yelled at by my producer because I have gone over. We had a congressional candidate
I've got nowhere to move spots, so that's
and he
great.
has nowhere to put commercials. He's very angry with me right now. John, 30 seconds. Before the election, our last time talking to you, your thoughts?
Before the election, it's going to be very close. I honestly believe that you have 7 swing states. No one's going to sweep all 7 swing states, and I do believe it's going to come down to the state of Pennsylvania in terms of who wins this election. You remember 2000, it came down to Florida. 2004, it came down to Ohio. This election, it comes down to Pennsylvania. Whoever wins that state will be the next president of the United States.
There'll be so much to talk to next Thursday. Talk about, John, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. John Decker from Gray TV, and news is coming up next.
Our nation is at a crossroads. In Albany, John Manion and Kathy Hochul support radical policies like cashless bail, which releases violent criminals back into our communities. Worse, John Manion and Kathy Hochul support defunding the police, taking officers and equipment off of the streets when we need them the most. Now, Manion's running for Congress, threatening to take Hochul's terrible ideas to Washington, D.C. There's a better choice. Navy veteran Brandon Williams, a former nuclear submarine officer, Brandon Williams has a new mission, defending central New York from the Hochul-Manion agenda. Unlike John Manion, Brandon Williams knows how to keep our families safe. In Congress, he's secured millions for local law enforcement, giving cops the tools they need to keep violent criminals behind bars. On or before November 5th, vote for Navy veteran Brandon Williams for Congress.
I'm Brandon Williams, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Brandon for NY 22.
Whitesboro Central School District is looking for bus drivers to join their team now. Whitesboro is a leading school system in central New York with 7 schools, 3,100 students, and a 92% graduation rate. You can help drive our students' success. When you drive for Whitesboro, you get pay that's based on your experience, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and summers off. Call Andy at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
At Mattress Express, we deliver quickly. If you've waited too long for your mattress to be delivered elsewhere, simply bring your receipt in. We will deliver the same or a comparable mattress, and we will meet or beat the price and get it to you quickly. Come see us today.
Medicare Part D open enrollment is now through December 7th. It can be confusing to compare plan coverages, premiums, and deductibles all on your own. Looking for an easier way? Go to